Oh. Oh. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Much love. You guys know what's up. Follow me on all my socials, and I'll catch you next time. Bye. I love you. Bye-bye. That's the clip. That's the clip that this hoodie's from. Thanks for being here. Bye. You'll just have to see me next time. Bye-bye. With the check-in. What up? Checking in. What up? He said it. He said the words. I did. And I said it. And I've been saying it. So I guess if I must, if I must. If I must.
Yo.
We got some daily check-ins and stuff. Let's go. We're gonna jump right into it because I'm just excited to play and I don't know how long I'm gonna be live tonight. It's already very late, and I've had a long ass day. You love Chinese food. You love Chinese food. We need a name. Well, you opened a fortune cookie, so clearly you were eating Chinese food. Like, duh. Sorry. Hi. Okay, I'm gonna be... What am I gonna be, guys? What do I be? What do I be? What do I be? What's my name? Yo. What's my name? Zamco. A great ability to break cookies. First, what up, Pop FOMO? Tutors liked my condoms. You wore them to class. Let's go. I'm gonna show you how to do a fortune. Hello, hello. I gotta figure out what my name's gonna be. Instead of worrying and agonizing, move ahead constructively. What? And I said it better myself. Okay. I'm so excited to play this game right now. Zekwo, sick condoms. Tell me after class somewhere else and said I liked your condoms and it was the funniest moment out of context. I liked your condoms. I tried them on. They felt nice. Wore them around. Got compliments. Everyone liked the way they looked on me. How about Stensifer. Oh, it doesn't fit. How about... How about Stenifer? We're gonna go Stenifer. Stenifer. Balls, that'd be so good. Fucking job interview in 8 hours. I think Owen's friend is visiting tomorrow, so I'm meeting online friend. That's scary. Online friend sounds cool. Congrats on the job interview. Don't tell me anything about it until tomorrow. What an odd name. Stenifer? No, Stenifer's a great name. Why? I'm being superstitious. good luck or something. In the land of Hyrule, there echoes a legend that you cannot read. A boy who, after battling evil and saving Hyrule, crept away from the land that had made him a legend. Tell you guys tomorrow. I'm excited to hear about it. Done with the battles he once waged across time, he embarked on a journey, a secret and... Can I read for longer, guys? Like, what's fucking going on? A journey in search of a beloved and invaluable friend. A friend with whom he parted ways when he finally fulfilled his heroic destiny and took his place amongst legends. Been working hard? Yes, you have. I owe the government $1,000. Yippee! Self-employment taxes are cool. Wahoo! 1,000? Yep. Perks of being self-employed, my boy. You owe the government all of it. You're poor, now hand over more money. Yes, that's exactly right. I got no tax credit this year. I think because I filed for extension, I got punished as part of it. The government pays me most years. Yeah, that's what happens when you have a real job. $3 in my bank account. Let's go! Wonder if he has anything good on him. This guy? Well, that shouldn't be a problem. Ooh, what a pretty ocarina. He's doing it. Anyway. My god. Everyone thinks I'm annoying. Yay! I don't know. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the Zach Tag. What's this? Why can't I try it out too? So, guys, I guess I should tell you a little bit of context real quick. Yo, Link is pissed. My boy. I did that for a whole ass minute? My god. Someone get me mental attention. Or just give me normal attention. Guys, give me attention. Hi. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. Alright, let me give you guys a little context real quick. Okay, so I have never played through Majora's Mask. I'm a huge Zelda fan. Hold on. Hold on. As I was saying, I'm a huge Zelda fan. Oh shit. Sorry. My bad. CS. No. Hello. Welcome in. Anyway, huge Zelda fan. Long story short, though, have never actually played all the way through Majora's Mask. I'm a big Majora's Mask hater. Which is to say that I really enjoy Ocarina of Time, and I don't like Majora's Mask as much. And there's a lot of people that love Majora's Mask and think it's better than Ocarina of Time. And I want to be able to enjoy Majora's Mask, but I especially want to live a part of my childhood that I never actually got to complete, as well as be able to have a full rounded opinion of Majora's Mask. Because I feel like a lot of times I'm like, I don't like Majora's Mask, and people are like, did you ever beat it? And I'm like, no. So I want to be able to be like, I beat the game and my opinions are valid. What up, Competo? I don't know. I don't remember it being changed to that one, but it definitely has to do with the fact that I have an addiction to it, the game, and I don't, and I'm mad at it for not being able to run while I'm streaming. I tested it off stream, and it plays so good when I'm not live. So yeah. Third check-in. Let's go. Don't forget, guys, it's Orange Week still. So hope you're still rocking Orange Week. My mom today, as I was going upstairs, she was like, Is it still Orange Week? And I was like, yeah, it's still Orange Week. And then I smiled as I walked upstairs because I was like, my mom knows it's Orange Week and she likes Orange Week. My mom is a Orange Week person or something. Mom, it's Thursday. My mom doesn't even know that the weeks don't change until Saturdays. Ugh. Jeesh. Fake fan, man. Fake fan. Orange Week is so mom coded. Zach_co-file. Yeah. FOMO with the 2 times check-in. Let's get it. Guys, I'm thinking about condensing the daily check-in and the yo into one thing. So when you do your daily check-in, it'll do the yo. Still say it, have them all. I've been hanging them up like right next to me on a shelf. I recommend that you write like one good thing that happened to you that week on it, something memorable and something good. Hang it, like write it on it at the end of the week when we translate to the next week, and then keep them somewhere. Dude, this jump in this game is so good. Link has the coolest jump ever in this one. For going my first 3 weeks. This one all right? Yeah. Yeah, this game's trippy. Favorite Zelda game. There he is. There he is, guys. The Majora's Mask enjoyer. Everyone point and laugh. Ha ha ha. Bad game. Bad game. This one sucks. Point and laugh because this one sucks. Kidding. I'm gonna play all the way through it though, and then form a real opinion. Colin, I'm gonna make a video essay about this game. I've decided it, and I mean it. But first I have to play all the way through it so I can have real good opinions. Yummy non-alcoholic beer. Yeah. I will say, man. 5 hours video essay. Yeah. I'm still an Ocarina of Time boy. I think even after I finish this game, I will still think Ocarina of Time is better, but I'm hoping to have a newfound love for this game. Encourage everyone to play the 3DS remake instead if they can. Boo! Boo! I only play old games. Yuck. I think it's funny. I feel like Ocarina of Time heads like myself are like, Ocarina of Time is number 1. And then we're like Twilight Princess number 2. Wind Waker number 3. And we're like, Majora's Mask sucks. But Majora's Mask enjoyers are like, Majora's Mask is number 1, and then Ocarina of Time is number 2. I love Ocarina of Time. I just think Majora's Mask is better. But Ocarina of Time heads are like, Majora's Mask is suck ass. Hate that game. This game is one of the most controversial titles in the Zelda franchise by far. Marty with the check-in. Let's go. The 4 time. Down the online shops, yeah. What up, Inventor? Only reason I feel that way is because some of the old N64 clunkiness that puts people off of MM is managed. Well, yeah. But they also, like, make the game unplayable in the 3DS version. There's some shit in the 3DS version that is, like, makes Majora's Mask also unplayable. Like, they literally ruined some stuff in the 3DS version. Yes, I'm in my VC. And it may help you appreciate what it might be. No, playing through the game is going to help me do that. Rah. I never got the impression that it was that controversial. Why is that? It's controversial from a Zelda fan's perspective, which is whether or not it's better than Ocarina of Time, or it's just an okay, like, Zelda game that was really good for how fast it was made. Someone like me is like, Majora's Mask is really good for being made in a year. It's good enough to play, but it's meh. I don't love it. Other Zelda fans are like, it is by far the best Zelda game in the entire series. It's not controversial on whether or not it's a good game or whether or not, like, it's enjoyable or anything like that. It's basically just controversial on whether or not it's one of the best or just good. Wind Waker was super controversial and has come around to being one of the most beloved Zelda games in the entire franchise at this point. Detractors wouldn't dislike it. Definitely. 100%, yeah. Well, that's the perfect thing, guys. Together, we're going to play through this game, form our opinions, and then be able to make an informed video essay on it. I've played through this beginning part like 100 times because I played it on the GameCube version. I wouldn't have gotten separated from my brother. Do something. So the beginning of this game I've played through about 100 times, but the rest I haven't. Also, Colin, you're more than welcome to join the BC and talk about this game. I would very much enjoy that. And instead of playing the game, while we talk, instead of playing the game, I'm going to show a couple of video essays about the game. So that way I can kind of show you guys why I'm trying to make a video essay about the game. Sarah getting that king of the hill. What, you think the game's boring, Adventure? I'm going to be playing a video for additional context instead of playing it. Not at the same time as playing the game. You silly goof. Dekunat. Yippee. Yeah, Ocarina of Time is by far my favorite. Way ahead of their time. Absolutely. Majora's Mask is an amazing feat. Like, they did make this game in a year. 1 year from Ocarina of Time they made this game, so it is an amazing feat. They did something amazing. And the game is phenomenal, all things considered. What movie is this? What up, don't know me? Majora's Mask. My Colin Smoke hot take. We are about to get the Lucas Worm take imaginable, chat. I didn't even know you could go over here, dude, to be honest. I've never tried to get over here before. I've never thought about the fact you could get over here. That's crazy. This is insane. Ocarina of Time formed my opinion on what a game should be. That it's so far ahead of its time that, like, I was playing it when I was like 13, which was like 15 years after the game had originally come out. And it has definitively formed my opinion of what a game should be, which is one of the reasons I don't love, like, the newer Zelda games, because in many ways, I wish they were more like Ocarina of Time. Dawn of the Last Day. Dun dun. I own the Happy Mask Shop. I travel far and wide in search of masks. I am going to be kind of skipping through this stuff, the early stuff.
Easy money!
Sarkana? Leave the Prime. 18 months. 18 months. What the hell? All of them just not the same, in my opinion. Yeah. Same. Same. I own the new Zeldas. I just much prefer Ocarina of Time and, like, Wind Waker over the newer ones. I love them so much. Sarkana, thank you so much. Holy shit. Thank you for the Prime. Thank you, thank you. I have a real hot take, too. Oh, God. Absolute truth right now about Zelda games. Yeah, I love Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker so much. I don't get me wrong, I love Breath of the Wild. I think it's amazing. I think the new game is amazing. But I miss the old, like, first generation 3D Zelda formula. They had something so good. I wish they'd expand upon it. I also just have so much nostalgia for, like, games around this time in general. Like, Sonic Adventure 2, fucking phenomenal game. And I wish, like, Sonic Frontiers had been Sonic Adventures 3 instead. Like, the Chow Garden and the way that they did, like, 3D worlds, just, like, fix the way the camera works, make the game run better, make, like, the controls better. Just refine the formula. That's what I wanted. And I don't want developers to, like, be afraid to try new things. But if they have a good thing going, I'd like to see where that could get to before they go and, like, that was good enough, and then move on. It's like, there's so much left to do. Start to finish every day. Yeah, I played Ocarina of Time, like, over and over and over and over and over again one summer with my cousin. Like, we would play through it all day, like, all the time. I've actually never really played the GBA games or Minish Cap. I didn't have a lot of money for games, so it's hard for me to come by games. When I was playing Ocarina of Time, for example, I never actually owned Ocarina of Time. That's how fucked up it is. Ocarina of Time, my cousin had it on the Wii eShop. My other cousin had it on the disc that came with the GameCube. And my other cousin had it on the Nintendo 64. But I didn't own the game. And I could not figure out how to get the game. And I never had the money to buy the game. And I finally got the game on the Wii eShop. Majora's Mask I got, but I didn't get Ocarina of Time. You're kind of quiet, but that's my fault. Give me one sec.
Okay.
Inventor. What up, Niles? Once a year, minimum replayable. Yeah. Inventor, I much prefer the music from the older games as opposed to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom with strong, catchy motifs, the simple, memorable soundtracks. Everybody talks about how interesting the environmental music design is in the newer games, but I would never listen to any music from those games on their own, and I miss it. I totally agree. I think that
I completely agree, yeah.
I think there's a place for the music that's in the new games, but I do miss... The big thing I miss is, like, I miss, like, dramatic dungeons with, like, crazy dungeon music and, like, a couple songs that are, like, so specific. Like, the Song of Time is so memorable. The Song of Storm so memorable. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to fix my opinion, Sarkana, on this game, because my opinion has always been this game is subpar in comparison to Ocarina of Time, and I find it tedious to play, and so have never finished it. And so my plan is to actually finish this game for the first time ever, and try to find a new appreciation for a game in the Zelda franchise that I have otherwise never actually appreciated that much. I've always loved the themes of it. Like, I've thought the dark themes are interesting and cool. I've thought the 3-day like cycle is an interesting mechanic, and then I have not enjoyed playing it ever. So
here's my kind of assessment. I don't think you playing Majora's Mask into completion for the first time will necessarily change your opinion. Like, I don't think you're gonna come out of this playthrough thinking it's better than Ocarina of Time. I do firmly believe that Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are the two best Zelda games by a wide margin. I don't think it's close.
I think Wind Waker is way up there.
Wind Waker is my number 3, actually, right after Ocarina of Time.
I think I'm Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess.
See, I've actually never played Twilight Princess.
Maybe Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, to be honest, but it's hard for me to say. The thing about Twilight Princess is it gave me the heebie-jeebies in a way that I was very uncomfortable with as a kid. And then Wind Waker, I got lost at sea, and so I never finished it. Wind Waker was too hard for me to finish. Wind Waker too hard for me to finish, and then the other one that I was just talking about.
Twilight Princess?
Yes. Twilight Princess was uncomfortably dark for me. I think one of the reasons I like Twilight Princess so much though is it really was basically like, what if we made Ocarina of Time again, but grittier, darker, and with like a couple new like story elements in it, which
Well,
was
it,
like
it,
a
it
different
takes
boss style thing.
Twilight Princess definitely takes a lot of the elements of, at least from my understanding, it takes a lot of the elements of Majora's Mask that I think really elevate it and apply it to a more traditional Ocarina of Time style formula.
Hmm.
Um, it takes the parts of Majora's Mask that I think are universally liked without necessarily bringing over some of the controversial like gameplay decisions, like the 3-day cycle, you know. And I think
Yeah.
that's why a lot more people like it. Um, but I think that you're gonna come out at the end of this, and you're probably gonna like Majora's Mask a lot more than you expected you would by the end of the playthrough.
Well, that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah.
But I don't think it will necessarily, and I could be totally wrong about this, but I think there are definitely people who can play through Majora's Mask, think it's great, and I'm like that was an amazing experience, but I don't necessarily want to have that again. And then there are some people who I think it attracts a different crowd. I think that there's like a different charm that is not in the other Zelda games. There's no other Zelda game that feels like Majora's Mask. Um, Niles, I think Majora's Mask 3D is the definitive way to experience Majora's Mask. However, I
Boo.
I I only feel that way because there are, if you are somebody who doesn't necessarily have a personal history with the Zelda series, I think it is a lot harder to appreciate Majora's Mask on the N64 if, let's say, you just got into Zelda in the past couple years, uh, like through Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom.
What a PC boy.
But I think Majora's Mask 3D, I think, makes some controversial changes to, like, for instance, like how the Song of Time works. That makes it easier to experience some of the very special content in Majora's Mask that makes it my favorite Zelda. But takes away some, but at the same time, some of those gameplay changes definitely take away the impact of jumping through the hoops to experience some of those things from the side quests and whatnot. Um, but I think it's a perfectly valid way to experience the beginning of the game. For me, to experience the game. For me personally, having played and beaten both, I prefer the N64 version, but I think it's much harder to recommend it to
Woo!
most people.
Woo! Good take. Woo! Woo!
So,
I
so
say
my
never playing the
thing,
3DS version and never finishing the N64 version.
so my hot Zelda take that I know isn't just a Colin Smoke hot take, it's an actual hot take because it makes people very angry and upset every time I say it. Is excuse me, sorry.
I can't believe you'd say that.
I kind of think that Breath of the Wild and even Tears of the Kingdom are very like disappointingly like average. I kind of think they're very very overhyped games that are very just okay.
I think that they are actually fantastic. I think that they are genuinely fantastic. Like, legitimately fantastic. My problem is, I am uninterested because I know how deep Zelda can be. We've had this conversation before, and both of our opinions have basically been, these games are fantastic games, but they are subpar Zelda games.
I actually my opinion's changed a bit. I don't even think they're subpar Zelda games. I think they are bad Zelda games. I think they're very good like games, but and I'm not saying this in like a weird gatekeepy way, but I think if you consider yourself a Zelda fan and you've only played Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I would hesitate to call yourself that. I don't want to say like you're not or whatever if you have not played any other title in the series, because you might be saying you're a fan of something that you totally don't fuck with. Because I think they are so different from the rest of the series. Now, I personally, and I'm saying this as somebody who played the fuck out of Breath of the Wild, and like I used to speedrun it. Like I used to be super into that long before I was streaming. So like I think they're fun, but I have found a way. I've always had a hard time articulating what necessarily feels different about Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom to like Ocarina of Time, Link to the Past, Wind Waker. Like there's other games that I love, Majora's Mask. Um, and I think that it's the scope of them in that Ocarina of Time always gives it's a very limited game, right? In that there's all these sure there's a certain amount of side quests, there's a certain amount of items, but you know, you can very feasibly in one playthrough experience all the items, all the armors, all the weapons, all the side quests in like a very reasonable amount of time. It's a very focused experience. And some people, I think today in the modern age of vast open world games that you're supposed to just play for the next 10 years of your life, might see that as a bad thing, like the scope of the game. However, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are not only good for what they do, what is included in the actual content of the game, but for what is excluded as well. In that, Ocarina of Time gives this impression that you are experiencing a very, very vertical slice of a very vast and like complicated and interesting world filled with wonder. Whereas Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom take this opposite approach, where you can explore the whole world, but it's not particularly interesting. There is no additional wonder. The Hyrule of Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild just kind of are what they are. Whereas the Hyrule of, say, Ocarina of Time are so much more than Hyrule Field, are so much more than the Castle Town. Like, there's so much wonder about the life. Like, what could it be beyond those streets that we as players can't access? And there is absolutely nothing in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom that inspires that same wonder, because there is no question that anything in the environment or the world of Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom poses and leaves unanswered. I think they're very unfocused experiences that, like, as a result, just kind of feel very underwhelming if you're somebody who really enjoys the world of Zelda and the wonder and the weirdness and like the strange charm of the world that Nintendo has crafted.
I would like to agree and disagree a little bit, which is to say that like I very much enjoy the huge open world and the scope of that. My problem is that for me in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, there is no clear sense of progression like there is in Majora's Mask and in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. And the thing that like I don't want to say that like I don't really want Majora's Mask, or sorry, I don't want the new games to be linear. Per se, like one of the things I liked about Ocarina of Time is that it felt non-linear in a way, but it was still linear, which was basically like I had a connection to the characters in the story because there was like a progression of the story that made sense. Even if you did it somewhat out of order, things you did affected other parts of the world very obviously and affected the story very obviously, and you were working up towards something very clearly. Like you were doing this thing which affected the world in this way, which made this a thing that you then had to do, which made this obstacle, which then made this happen. So then you had to do this thing, which made you have to do this thing, and then you got this thing, which allowed you to do this thing. Like the hook shot and the lens of truth, like allowed you to interact with the world in completely new ways. Whereas where in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I don't necessarily feel that way. It's like I pretty much have access to everything as soon as the game starts, and I have no clear sense of progression because I can do anything and everything immediately. And while that is part of the draw for a lot of people, and a lot of people really like that, I don't like the fact that I don't feel like I have a sense of discovery past the first part of the game. Like as soon as I'm off the Great Plateau, there's nothing left for me to discover in the game. Like the discovery that, which is, it's there, someone could take problem with that, which is like in the sense that there's so much in the world. There's like, you could discover all the Koroks, and you can discover this area of the map, or this thing, or this hidden cave, or this little thing. And it's like, that's true. but you do that 3-4 times, and now you understand the 700 Koroks that you're gonna find. They're all the same thing. It's
No,
not.
exactly.
It's
That's what I'm saying.
There's no progression in that way, and there's like they've shoehorned progression in where it's like if you get more Koroks, then you get more inventory space, or like as you get more, if you do these repetitive ass shrines over and over again, then you get more hearts. Whereas like in Ocarina of Time, my progression is like tied to I beat a fucking boss and now I have a new heart. Like I killed this hard as fuck like creature that I can only kill one time, and that's how I expanded my like health bar. Or you know, I unlocked fucking magic halfway through the game, and now the rest of the game is different. Like the ability for the game to completely shift how you play it as you unlock these game-changing features throughout the game, that sense of progression is what I loved about the old Zelda games. Whereas the new Zelda games, like even the Divine Beasts are like cool, and you do unlock an ability, but for the most part, I feel like those abilities are like pretty subpar and also don't interact with the other abilities like in a very interesting way for me personally. It's like, I don't know. I feel disconnected from the game in a way that I don't feel disconnected from Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time. Where in Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, like I feel like I'm in the world and I feel like I'm a part of it and I'm affecting it. Whereas in Breath of the Wild, I feel like I'm just like a spectator almost.
See, the thing is, like, I want to like make 2 points because I completely agree with everything you just said. Just to kind of like, I guess, kind of sort of respond to what like Zaz is saying in chat about like the amount of lore built into the environment of Breath of the Wild is crazy. You know what? I'm sure it is, but it is presented in like the most obtuse and uninteresting way imaginable. Like I'm sure that there was something hidden away in a tiny corner of Breath of the Wild on like in like a fucking, like when everyone's talking about how like, oh my god, Tears of the Kingdom's gonna have the Zonai. They've been foreshadowing this so much. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. Maybe there was all kinds of lore I didn't experience in Breath of the Wild. This game I played for literally hundreds of hours speedrunning, right? I'm like, that's actually genius if they wiggled that in there. And then I'm like, I got super excited about it. I was like, I wonder what lore, what world building they did in Breath of the Wild to hype up the Zonai. The Zonai are mentioned once in the tooltip of one armor set. Not even by name, incredibly vaguely. It's all this like insanely like obtuse like shadow puppetry hieroglyph like hidden bullshit that is just like, it's like meaningless. There is no weirdness that you are being consistently exposed to in the way that Zelda always has, right?
And to Sakana's point, like the whole world is very samey. Like
you have, yeah, no, exactly. And to kind of tie what Sarkana said in with what you said, you've seen probably 80% of Breath of the Wild, and from my experience so far, Tears of the Kingdom, 80% of it in probably the first 3 to 5 hours, because there's what else is there to discover, dude? A couple like
you climb up stuff, you go down in water, you do a thing, you ride the boat in the water,
and
you
like,
fly through the air with the paraglider, you climb up the thing, and you go down the thing, and fire hurts.
And like,
you guys
dude,
gotta finish Tears of the Kingdom, bro.
Dude, and Tears of the Kingdom may be very good in that it has like a more involved story, and that's what's to be discovered, and that's good. But I just think inherently, like Zelda being this incredibly vast and humongous open world that's as deep as a puddle, the day after it rains, does not mesh with what makes Zelda as a series special. Like, sure, dude, if I go out into Hyrule in Breath of the Wild, I'll find a couple weird dragons in the sky that have absolutely no gameplay implications, a couple side quests that lead to nothing, a couple bandits, and a bunch of shrines that are completely and totally unforgettable unless they were legitimately frustrating and unfun, like that fucking constellation star in the sky bullshit. If you played Breath of the Wild and got all the shrines, you know what I'm talking about.
Real quick,
like,
I also want to say that like I definitely think that there is more to Tears of the Kingdom, and it's way better than Breath of the Wild, and I'm 100% shut up. I'm definitely I'm I'm definitely sure that there is a lot more to it for me to discover, but off rip, it disappointed me, which does not make me interested in playing it more. It does not hook me in a way that makes me want to keep playing it. It does not have the Zelda magic that I want from a Zelda game. The Zelda magic that like Colin and I are talking about, and that those of us that have played like all the old games and that fell in love with the series because of the old games have for Zelda games is, look, like obviously the Zelda team is doing something right. They sold more games with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom than they did of any other Zelda games ever, and more people that have never experienced any of the other Zelda games experienced Breath of the Wild for the first time and fell in love with the Zelda series off the back of it. So I have no complaints about that, and they obviously did something very right, and they made a game that they made the games they should have made. That's not what I'm talking about. I think me and Colin both are not necessarily saying Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild are not the games that they're supposed to be. It's that they're not the games that we want them to be, which is a different gripe. It's to say that those games are not the Zelda games that we want to play. So if you enjoy them, that's good, and you should enjoy them, and you shouldn't feel bad about enjoying them.
Totally,
But
I agree.
the criticisms that are being laid out by myself and Colin are essentially, here is what the old Zelda games are, and here's how the new games are different in a way that make them less interesting for us.
And I think, honestly, the reason why Breath of the Wild and the series is becoming open world, and to be honest, is probably, unfortunately, going to be open world for years to come, is
I shouldn't have to look at the details. I should feel immersed by the story, or off rip. I shouldn't have to go like fucking look at a fucking blade of grass that has like a fucking Korok's face on it and be like, oh my god, this is connected. It should be there. I should not be able to miss it.
yeah, but like that's the thing. Like, dude, look, man, I think little details like that are really, really cool when they're not all there is to discover. There is like,
I should be rewarded for exploring, but I also should be able to have a good experience without having to dig into all the minute details.
exactly, I think those little minute Easter eggs are very interesting and are, honest to God, very nice touches. But holy shit, man, that is not that should not be all there is out there to discover. Like, who cares, man? That's something that's a neat Easter egg. That's not world building. That's not.
To me, all of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is fan service, which is not what I'm interested in.
Dude.
To me, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom feel like the Dragon Ball Super of the Dragon Ball series, which is to say that like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z up to a certain point were like building on something and evolving the story in a very like interesting way for the people that were interested in it. And then Dragon Ball Super was like transformations. I don't know. That's what people like, right? And I don't fuck with it like I fuck with early Zelda games. The new Zelda game, like, dude, I played through Breath of the Wild enough at this point where it's like I keep trying to fucking play the game and I've got like 50, 60 hours in it, and like I've gotten enough hearts to get the Master Sword, and I have the Master Sword, and I still find the game tedious and annoying to play. Like, I just actually cannot stand playing it. And I got Tears of the Kingdom hoping that it would change the formula in a way where it was like it took all the good of Breath of the Wild but then made it more Zelda-y, and they didn't do that, and that's okay. It's just not for me. But I don't like it.
And you know what I'll say? Like, you know, I see Zaz, your message is like, so what do you want? World building is about small details.
Zaz, I sense real quick, take a breath, because your messages feel emotionally charged, like I'm ripping into something you enjoy. Again, it's okay for you to enjoy it. This is my opinion. It's okay for me to not like a thing that you like, and you can like it how you want, but you don't need to defend your thing as if my emotions and feelings about it aren't valid.
So my thing is like, you're right. The everyday life of these characters you're interacting with is interesting, but you've seen all there is to see of 99% of the characters in this fucking game the first and last time you interact with them. Whereas I think what is going on in Majora's Mask is, for instance, so much more interesting because these people do have their day-to-day lives and they do have their day-to-day routines, but they're also complex. Like you see them react and cope and deal with the end of the fucking world, like in their day-to-day. And that I think is very interesting and is very good world building that ties to the story. And if you can't do that with the scope of Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, then the world does not have to be that big. If it just be filled with very uninteresting orbs that, if I get 4 of them, will raise my health, hidden by puzzles that I'm gonna forget as soon as I finish them.
Yeah, world building is
Quick
about small
question.
details. I agree, but the entire
That
world
can't be
should
it.
not. Yeah, the entire world should not be built off just the small details. And like the everyday life of the characters, like what, like I'm not sure I totally understand what you're getting at, but what Colin was just saying is like exactly what I agree with and what I think, which is like when I play Ocarina of Time, everything I do changes the fucking world as I go. Like at first I can't go to Death Mountain, but then I do this thing and this thing and this thing, and then I get this letter and I bring it to the guard, and now I'm able to go to Death Mountain. And then eventually I'm able to break the rocks and I'm able to go back into the Lost Woods, and the Lost Woods are now connected to the Gorons in a new way. And you know, when the Deku Tree passes and you're able to leave the woods for the first time, like things change as you progress through the game, where I don't feel like that actually happens in Breath of the Wild. A lot of the time, like most of the stuff in Breath of the Wild doesn't feel like it really changes. Now, I know that there are some things in Breath of the Wild that change. Like, I know that there's like one village that like changes over time with like construction to it or whatever. But like in in Ocarina of Time and in Majora's Mask, the entire world literally changes as you change things. And like your actions have consequence. I mean, granted, it's basically linear, so in some sense, like your actions don't have consequence because that's how the game has to play. But you know what I mean? Like it feels like you caused it to happen. Like you changed the world by doing what you did. By defeating the dungeon, you freed an entire area from like a curse or whatever. You lifted the curse of the area. You unlocked a thing that allows you to interact with the rest of the world in a different way. One thing, for example, is like the hook shot. The hook shot literally allows you to go to places you were never able to go before in areas you were already in. Or like the magic beans, for example. Like in the beginning of Ocarina of Time, you find a soft patch of soil and you don't know what the fuck it is and you don't know what you can do with it. And then way later in the game, you discover magic beans and you're like, oh my fucking god, those patches of soil. I remember that weird fucking patch of soil all the way back in the fucking beginning of the game that I had no idea about. And then you go plant the fucking bean. And then you come back in the future, and now you can go to an area you weren't able to go to before after unlocking a key item. Like, you literally changed the world by planting a plant that grew into the future and changed the world and how you're able to interact with it. Granted, it could be better, but that's what I want. I want an expansion on what exists, but I don't think Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom do that in a way that I enjoy. Like, I enjoy the way that I affect the world. I change the lives of the people within the world. Like Colin was saying in Majora's Mask, for example, you watch people cope over the 3-day cycle, which you'll see, but you watch them like cope with different things, or like you help them solve their problems and their lives change over the course of these 3 days. And certain things affect like outside the scope of those 3 days. I haven't finished this game, so I don't know everything that it does, but you literally change the way that you change people's lives. You've changed like all the things about it, and everything in this game is also connected. Like there's a certain area that you literally can't get to until you defeat one boss. And with this 3-day cycle, you have to re-defeat that boss every time to reopen that area to go to it, because it is the catalyst for that area to be open. You have to do things in order for other things to happen, and you feel in control. In Breath of the Wild, I really feel like a spectator that's just like hunting around the world looking for little Easter eggs to like uncover whatever the story is or was or whatever, but I don't feel like I have any control over anything that's actually happening in the world for the most part, save for like a few specific things that exist in like a very contained environment. There's nothing like world sized that I feel I actually have any like effect on or interest in, and I definitely don't feel like I have any idea of that being something from the very beginning of the game, whereas like in Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, from the very beginning of the game, I feel entrenched in the universe.
Dude, and I-
Wait, can I say something real quick?
yeah, totally.
In terms of talking about old Zelda, I feel exactly like everything you just said, except I haven't played Ocarina in Time or Majora's Mask, but the same principles remain very, very true in Twilight Princess.
Oh, dude,
Yes.
absolutely. We were just talking about this. Like Twilight
I love
Princess.
that
If you
shit.
liked,
Yes.
if you love Twilight Princess, dude, you will absolutely fucking love Ocarina of Time for sure. And
Twilight
you'll
Princess is an expansion on the formula.
Twilight Princess
Mm.
is just Ocarina of Time on a grander scale, and it also takes the dark elements that people that are universally liked about Majora's Mask and made a new game. Like I'm very excited. I'm someone who's never finished Twilight Princess. I'm currently like right now going through all the Zelda games that I have not finished before and making sure I've beaten every game in the series. I'm playing Link to the Past right now, and it's like fucking cracking my
me-
brain open like an egg.
For me, to me, I don't know what number 3 on that Zelda list is, but number 2 is Tears of the Kingdom, and number 1 is Twilight Princess. It just won't be beat.
To kind of respond to what Zaz is saying about like I think there's some limit like I think you're nailing it on the head, Zaz. Like for sure, I think there's some limitations that open world games do place in development. I think the amount of scope you would need on that would literally be a decade to get that same feeling. Completely agree.
And-
Why does Zelda have to be open world? What has been gained by becoming an open
I
world
think that
game?
they're very good games. I think that they are really great, and I really do love the open world aspect of them. And I also think that there is a way that they can do the open world stuff in an interesting way. Like, Ocarina of Time felt almost like open world. I very clearly remember when I was playing it for the first time, I was able to go to some areas that I shouldn't be at yet, and I couldn't do much in them, but I was able to like experience them and see them and kind of go like, oh, this is interesting. Like maybe I could do something here at some point. And there was still some stuff for me to do. Like Kakariko Village, there was some stuff for me to do, even though like I hadn't like done enough stuff at like Hyrule Castle yet to actually do stuff at Kakariko, for example. Or like I could go to Lake Hylia, even though I couldn't really do a whole lot there yet. Like I could explore the world, but I couldn't interact with every piece of the world yet because I needed to find some specific item. And I think that there's a way that they can do that in an open world game that allows you to experience most of the world while also not necessarily being able to progress the story on different ways, which is basically to say that I think they can make an open world game with a somewhat linear story that tricks you into feeling like you made all the choices. So like you experience it, and also there's still some freedom in order to do things out of order. For example, in Ocarina of Time, I'm pretty sure, though I don't remember extremely clearly because it's been a long time now since I like played through it for the first time, but I'm pretty sure I remember doing certain things out of the order that I was supposed to do it in. Like there was 1 or 2 different dungeons where I could do that dungeon first because it wasn't completely locked off by not having done the other one yet. And so by being able to do it somewhat out of order, I still had the choice in what I did first. And there were different challenges based on what order I did it in. And I think they could do the same thing in like an open world game where it's like maybe you have more choices. Like there's 3 different dungeons that you could do any of the 3 dungeons, but there's another 3 dungeons past those first 3 dungeons that you literally can't access until you've beaten these first 3 or until you've beaten 2 of the first 3 or something like that. Where it's like there's some level of locked progression with a lot of freedom to wiggle within that. So that way you still have the freedom of you have the illusion of choice essentially, while still being able to experience the world and the impact of your actions on the world, because like obviously you can't just like willy-nilly just do anything anywhere without it being like almost like a Baldur's Gate-esque thing where it's like, you know, the story completely changes based on what you do. Like if you want everyone to experience the same story, there's got to be some bounds on it. But if otherwise Zelda would have to do, like you said, like a decade-long development where they like have like 10 different storylines that are baked in that you like pick your own adventure in, which is just that obviously not going to happen. That's way too much. So I think that there's like a middle ground between the pure open world that with sameness and blandness, which is like collect 900 Koroks and do fucking 90 goddamn shrines to get your stupid fucking hearts, and then find little minute details on the ground that are like, did you know Zelda actually lives with Link? Oh my god, what? That's crazy. And the original Zelda games, which are like, dude, the Deku Tree just fucking died because Ganondorf fucking killed him. And now you need to go fucking save the world. And then, you know, you can kind of go adventure out in the world, but then you got to eventually find your way into the right direction. I think there's a middle ground where you're not as shoehorned in a single direction, but also not just like left out to your own devices completely with no impact on the world.
I like the structure of Ocarina of Time or Link to the Past, but give the player more leash along the way is how I view it. Like I think there's nothing wrong with the whole world not being opened up to you from the second you start playing the game, and it opens up as a result of shit that you do in the game story. Zach, if I have to ask, based on what you just said, have you played Link to the Past before?
No.
Oh my god.
I have really not played any of the game. Wait, which one?
Link to the Past is on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, the original one. I have played that one.
Not the original one on the NES. I'm talking Link to the Past, like the one that was on the SNES.
No, I have not played that one then. I've never had access to an SNES.
I'm playing it right now, like emulated, and I, honest to God, think it is the perfect formula for. It is like actually what the blueprint of what Zelda should be, moving forward. In that, from the moment you start playing, Hyrule feels very open to you after you complete the intro sequence. And there is a linear story, but it does give the illusion that I am progressing that story as a result of my choices and the decisions I'm making.
You're gonna get in trouble.
Yo, Vacker, thank you so much for the raid. Hi. Hello. How are you? Hi. Hello. Welcome everyone. Guys, we're shitting on Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But I'm sorry. I hope I hope that's
it's okay.
okay.
Zach, they were playing Assassin's Creed Mirage. So who
Wow.
knows, man?
No, I know Vacker loves Breath of the Wild.
Oh.
I just want to.
Oh well, you're a bad person, and you should feel bad.
Whoa!
Let me clear the air
Nah,
real
I'm
quick
kidding,
to
I'm
everyone
kidding.
joining in that loves Breath of the Wild. Let me open this up for you. This is my first time playing. No! Why? Why do people raid me right before the 3-minute ads? Fuck! God damn it! Shit! Oh, god damn it. Okay. Hold on just a second. Oh, all right. Have a good one. To anyone that can hear me, long story short, Backer, thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. I hope we got a shout out. The long story short, though, is this is my first time playing Majora's Mask, but I love Ocarina of Time. Huge Ocarina of Time fan. Love it so much. I think Breath of the Wild is a cool game. I really like it. I think Tears of the Kingdom has a lot of really cool elements to it that I really like. I am disappointed with Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, but purely from being an old Zelda fan who loves the old Zelda games for very specific reasons. And we're just criticizing the new games and talking about how they're not for us, but also how it's totally fine. If you love them and enjoy them and think that they're the best Zelda games that have ever been made, that's okay too. But yeah, I will enter in to say that I've never played a Zelda game. Now you are a bad person.
No, we can fix you. We can guide you towards the Zelda games you should and should not play.
You should play all of them and then find the one that you like, because a lot of Zelda games do have a lot of different. They have different experiences in them, like, and they're meant to be different from one another. They're all kind of meant to exist on their own, other than Majora's Mask and stuff, Twilight Princess, where they've like kind of been on a very specific like timeline with each other, like a sequel and trilogy almost. But like otherwise, for the most part, they are meant to be different from each other and play differently and like be experienced in a different way. Zelda team specifically likes to make different kind of games, so different Zelda games will be for different people, just like how Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are not necessarily for me. Yeah. I definitely don't think it needs to be open world, but I don't think it helps that Zelda has never had so much success as when they released Breath of the Wild. Unfortunately, game developers follow the money when the publisher says so. Zelda kind of doesn't though. Honestly, Zelda
Well,
really.
it historically hasn't, but now it is. And I
Ah,
don't like that.
I mean, they took 5 fucking years to make Tears of the Kingdom. I really.
Dude, and sincerely, what the fuck did they do with all that time?
There's a lot in the game. Okay, let's take our hater hats off for a second. Tears of the Kingdom did
There's
make
so
a
much.
lot of improvements and add a fuck ton of stuff and systems that are
No,
quite frankly like groundbreaking.
dude, of course. I'm just kind of being a hater, but
I know.
at the same-
That's why I said let's take our hater hat off for a second.
But at the same time, the mechanics are so good. The mechanics are so good, but there are also so many of those mechanics that are so good are just borrowed from Breath of the Wild.
that's also not really true.
I think like Fuse is super cool. I think Ultra Hand is super cool. I think the physics engine and all the chemistry and shit very interesting. I think the mechanics of Breath of the Wild are very, 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 very good. I think they are very well done. I'm not shitting on the mechanics of Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. I think they're great. I think content-wise, in terms
Guys,
of the
let me
world,
hold on. I mean no offense to Colin when I say this, but this is something I've said before in the past. I want everyone to be aware. Colin speaks in clickbait, so don't take anything too seriously.
No. I'm fully standing by what I said. I think that the gameplay being so good in Tears of the Kingdom really hides the fact that Hyrule is so uninteresting to explore in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild.
Oh my god. Okay.
That is like
I would like to point something else to the rest of the chat. These two did not finish Tears of the Kingdom. Go on.
I will at some
that's
point
why
when I'm
That's why I'm still defending it a little bit from Colin being like, "What the fuck did they do?" Dude, I don't know. Like, we can't. Hold on. We gotta back up just a tad.
Dude,
we can talk about why it hasn't. We can talk about how it hasn't hooked us and how it feels very samey still and has a lot of the same elements of Breath of the Wild, which make it still disappointing and not interesting to even get into more. But without actually having played through it more to experience a lot of the shit that's in it, it's very hard to actually be like, Tears of the Kingdom did not improve Breath of the Wild at all. Like
I'm not saying that.
You know
dude.
what?
I'm not saying that.
Or that it wasn't worth the 5
worst
years,
thing
for
ever
example.
Is I feel like I'm the only person on the planet that finished Tears of the Kingdom, and I have nobody to discuss it with.
How far did I get in Tears of the Kingdom? Not far enough. I've been meaning to play it again for a long time, and in fact, Majora's Mask is kind of my attempt to, like, you know, ease my audience into playing Zelda more, because for me, I've definitely struggled a lot with like trying to find the middle ground between like what I want to play, enjoy playing, and what my audience seems to enjoy watching. So there is like a level of playing those games that has to do with that too. My problem with Tears of the Kingdom, one of the main reasons I quit, is because every time I would load up the game, everyone in my chat would immediately fucking leave the stream because they're like, I can't be spoiled! And I was like, then I just won't fucking play the game. Whatever. So I was like, I can't play the game on stream, and I don't play games off stream. So like, I'm not going to play it unless I can play it on stream. So I basically just sat on my ass until everyone else finished it so I could play it. I have not been spoiled at all though, so I can still play it blind myself. Which is exciting, and I am excited to actually still get into it and play it. But I will say it was half because my chat kept leaving the streams when I would play it, and half because I did not get a whole lot of experience with it where I was like, yes, I want to keep playing this so much, dude. I was definitely enjoying it more than Breath of the Wild, though. I'll say that. I was enjoying it way more than Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I thought it was far more interesting than
also,
Breath of the Wild.
I feel the same. I think it's definitely better than Breath of the Wild, but like, I guess I'm 20 hours deep, just kind of underwhelmed. And that's just kind of how I'm feeling. And I think it has less to do with Tears of the Kingdom. Well, that's not necessarily true. I think Tears of the Kingdom is so different. It's such a departure from the Zelda games that I like for very different reasons than Tears of the Kingdom. I think the problem, something that I think is not a problem necessarily with Zelda as a franchise, but just gaming in general right now, is I don't know what the fuck people have such a hard on for about open world games that are just massive open worlds that are like filled with checkboxes that all feel kind of the same. Like, I don't know, there were a ton of people like the week leading up to Tears of the Kingdom dropping, who were like genuinely on the verge of a fucking panic attack, shitting bricks because they were terrified of the thought that like Hyrule might not be twice the size it was in Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah, there were so many people that were like, "Oh my god, this game is literally just going to be oh my god, it's like literally just the same world as Breath of the Wild, dude."
And you know what? That would have been I would have been totally fine with that. I would have been totally fine with the same map, like size and like blue, like, you know, foundation, but changed and more deep and more involved. Whereas I feel like what happened in Tears of the Kingdom is the world became twice as big and it remained just as interesting as it was in Breath of the Wild. It's again, from my perspective, 20 hours deep, you know, having seen like caves and, you know, like some like the town and some of that shit. Like, I don't know. I think like I think Tears of the Kingdom would have been better served taking a map of the same size and making it more interesting and dense than just bigger for the sake of being bigger.
Real quick, I want to say something about this game as an aside from the grander conversation. The fact that this person is able to keep track of my money and ledger through time space makes me uncomfortable. I don't know what he's doing or what he knows or who he is, but it's fucked up.
And Niles, I agree with what you're saying too, in that I think most open world games are prior to Breath of the Wild are so incredibly checkboxy, and Breath of the Wild doesn't do that, which is why I love it. So I loved it too when I played it first, and why I found speedrunning it to be so interesting, especially in the first year when everyone was like, dude, how the fuck did you speedrun this game? Because you could do this in so many different ways. Right? It was such a sandbox.
I love Breath of the Wild. I love open worlds and I love sandboxes, which is like honestly a big part of why I'm disappointed with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Mostly Breath of the Wild, with my lack of perspective on Tears of the Kingdom. But like one of the biggest reasons I'm disappointed with Breath of the Wild was that I was excited about the idea of being in like a sandbox open world in the Zelda world. But what I got felt like not like the Zelda that I thought I was getting, which is obviously self-expectations and a problem with that, but like also those expectations in many ways were set up by the franchise itself by being so good at what it was doing. So, you know, whatever.
It's and like it's tough because like what felt very open and like full of wonder, like very quickly, the longer you play Breath of the Wild, like I think once you hit like that 20-hour wall, you start to realize that like, you know, I could continue to do all these shrines and I'm really enjoying it right now, but all the shrines kind of do just yield the same thing and there's nothing to be discovered with them. The Koroks are all kind of the same thing, there's nothing to be discovered there. Like, it's not like there's any, you know, as someone who's again played the fuck out of Breath of the Wild, like you can count the amount of like interesting structures or environments or areas in Breath of the Wild that are like memorable at all on like one hand. And that
Korok
I
Bars,
think,
Hyrule Castle, go next.
and like the Great Plateau, I think is more interesting than the vast majority of Hyrule, and like that's crazy. I don't know, like, and I just that's my issue. I think once you kind of, I guess, peer behind the curtain and realize that you've kind of seen that everything you have not yet seen is kind of just reconstructions of what you have seen. It becomes very hard to ignore the fact that Breath of the Wild, though very fun, is very checkboxy and isn't like, it sure is vast, but it is not necessarily complex or deep. And again, I've only played Tears of the Kingdom for 20 hours, but that's my impression so far. It's definitely an improvement of Breath of the Wild in that there's more going on compared to Breath of the Wild. But Breath of the Wild had so little going on in its world that, like, that's a pretty low bar to clear.
To be fair, like, there's a lot going on in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom's world. It's just, like, it feels like it's a lot for the sake of being a lot, and it doesn't have any actual substance to it.
No, yeah, I mean, that's that's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah, like there's nothing very memorable.
Yeah, I just want to counteract anyone that like might
It just kinda-
immediately claim like, no, there's so much. It's like, well, yes, but that's not what
you're kind of
we're
like
getting at.
yeah, you're like kind of reclarifying what I'm
Yeah.
saying so that I'm not being exactly. And I
So that no one
appreciate
can
it.
misinterpret what exactly. you
Yeah,
mean.
because I don't necessarily word myself very well most of the time.
I think you're wording
Um,
yourself fine. I just think that it's easy, especially in a live environment, to immediately like go,
Clarify.
no, you, there is a lot, and I know at the very least like that happens to me a lot, where like when I'm talking, people then immediately misinterpret what I'm saying, and then I have to re-explain. So I'm trying to keep that from happening to you, just in case. Not that anyone is necessarily doing that or going to do that, but just before anyone has the opportunity to go, actually, I want to just make sure that they don't.
Like I guess my thing is like if you play any other Zelda game, like the way it all feels is so dramatically different from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, like night and day. And I'm not even talking gameplay. I'm talking the characters you talk to, the world, dialogue. Like you are being exposed. Like just the world that you're playing through and experiencing is so different and so much more interesting and complicated. In that there are so many. Dude, let me tell you.
Like, look right now, it's 2 p.m. on the first day, and suddenly the postman's coming into this house.
Playing the first 2 hours of Link to the Past like a week ago was like the most refreshing experience ever, because I was like, holy shit, man. This is what like semi-open world Zelda should feel like, in that there are so many very open-ended and interesting things that you're immediately have access to, but might not be able to progress.
You know, it'd be kind of cool in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, like for a future like installment in like an open world, that would kind of bring part of what I want back into it. Would be like, imagine if like there was a season cycle in the game and not just like a day-night cycle, and like the seasonal cycle, like as you progress through the game and did different things, like every summer something new would happen that like wasn't happening before. For example, like you do a certain thing and now every summer there's a celebration in Kakariko Village now because of that like thing that you did, that like makes it feel like you have an effect on the world, and also you get like a progression sense because also like the seasonal change shows like change in the world, which makes the world different, unique. It gives you an interesting reason to re-explore the world, because like now you can experience an area in fall and in winter and in summer, and like there could be different mobs in the same areas, and also like a different environmental like feeling in the different areas, and also like different recurring events that happen only in a certain season. So it's like you do something that winter, and then the next summer things are different than they were the summer before.
I like that idea. I think that's great. I think that the key to making
And what if you had farming and
feels...
fishing and mining and relationship meters? And what if it was Stardew?
I think the key to making a Zelda game more in line with the past ones is like every Zelda game prior to Breath of the Wild did so much they did more with less. In that, like, to give Majora's Mask as a very good example, and like why it's my favorite game in the series, is like literally every single NPC that you interact with in every area of Majora's Mask has some kind of significance, or at least enough significance to, I guess, look at them under a more careful eye, and to like wonder like if there is some way you can help their problem. Because holy shit, man, some of the side quests in Majora's Mask are so insanely involved and interesting and compelling, and are like shared with the player in a very casual conversation, and like could be totally ignored if the rest of the game did not set the precedent that you need to be looking at everything in the 3-day cycle under this microscope. It's awesome. I think it's just genuinely amazing. And that like that postman who just stumbled into the fucking inn on, at 3 p.m. on day one is like an interesting character who has an arc and has
Yeah, the character progression and story arcs of characters. Obviously, in Majora's Mask, it's a smaller scope, which is a part of it, but like, it would be really nice if there was if there was more focus on like the character development and the town development and like the way that time affects things. Like, obviously those were the themes of these games, which was like time. Time is the theme of these games, and so that's like why that's such a heavy aspect of these games. But it's also what made like these Zelda's games very special in that way, which is like seeing the progression and change in the world and the characters as time passes. And like, I don't know, I feel like even in an open world, like that could still, you could still do that on that scale in some ways, even if it's just like a bit more obvious than how it is now. Because like I said, I know that there's like some towns like Hatino or something where like the town changes a bit over time and stuff, and like that's cool. But like, I kind of, if it's gonna be an open world, I want the whole world to change as things change. Not everything is gonna affect the whole world, obviously. If I affect some like person's relationship in Hatino Village, then obviously that's only gonna affect Hatino Village. But like, if I fucking blow up a volcano, everyone should be like, holy fuck, what the hell happened to the volcano? They should not be carrying on life as normal from that point forward. You know. Also, yeah, the fairies made me uncomfortable as a child because I didn't know if I was allowed to be playing this game as a kid when the big near naked women came on the screen. I was like, I'd start spamming through the dialogue. I'm like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Whatever, okay. Nothing will ever beat the quote-unquote personality of the old great fairies. Yeah. I like Tears of the Kingdom, but a lot of it felt tedious. Yeah. I don't like collectathons. Like at a base level, I don't like collectathons. Yeah, probably because it's so big. There's so many gliding to go to X or climbing to get to X, and there's a lot of similar enemies and content. Getting materials for armor and for using. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of tedious like farming and collecting. If collecting can be made fun in some way, then I'm happy to do it. Like, don't get me wrong, I like collecting materials in Minecraft, for example. Like, I love mining for diamonds. Like, I like doing that. But like, you know, there's also progression in the mining system of Minecraft, which is to say that like you get iron and then you go a little bit faster, and then you get diamonds and you go a little bit faster, and then you get obsidian and then enchantments and then you go a little bit faster, and then you get fortune and you get more. And then you like, you know, it's like there's a progressionary system within that like collecting system, whereas like with let's say like Tears of the Kingdom, I feel it's like, if I want fire arrows, now I just have to go fucking collect all the fucking things that make fire arrows, and I just don't want to fucking... Oh my god, just let me get the fire arrows. Holy shit.
Can I be broad in what Tears of the Kingdom did very well?
Mm-hmm.
Carefully. Extremely
very,
carefully.
Very broad. They knocked the story out of the park, especially with some of the new voice acting. I think Fuse as a mechanic, I hope it never returns, but I think it served its peak in this game, and it did it so well. Right? Like I think
I love
Tears
that
of-
mechanic, yeah.
I think Tears of the Kingdom's identity should just stick with Fuse, and Fuse shouldn't ever reappear again because they're not gonna. They shouldn't try to top it, you know.
When you said Fuse, all I could think of was the character from Rainbow Six Siege, so I kept thinking of the word fuse like bomb fuse, and I just could not figure out what fuse meant for a while. I was like, what? I understand what you're talking about now, but that for some reason, like, that actually made my brain like fucked up my head for a second while I was trying to figure out what fuse you meant.
I think in terms of main story, the way I'll break it down is, and this isn't even that accurate, but me saying the final act of the story, best in the series, straight up. Um, uh, yeah, no, actually, best in the series.
Hold on, say again.
The final act, in Tears of the Kingdom, whatever, like there's like an extension of whatever. I think it's the best.
Okay.
Does that spoil on it? Does that like
No,
make
that
sense?
doesn't spoil anything, and I'm not going to ask any further, and I'm going to respect your
You should.
opinion, and I can't dispute it because I don't know what it is.
Um,
So
and then
therefore,
and then there's like
yeah, I'll just leave it at
I,
okay.
I think I totally agree that the collectathon bullshit sucks.
I
Like
hate it.
I ignore the Korok seeds unless I need a new slot in my
But
inventory. Like
that's the
I
thing.
just
That's the
fuck with
thing.
shit.
My inventory's full now. I have to go fucking find these stupid little goddamn fuckers. Or like, oh, my hearts aren't high enough, so now I have to go fucking do these 19 fucking stupid ass goddamn shrines that aren't interesting at all. Oh my fucking
Yeah.
god. And they take like 5 minutes to do, and I just want to run past them. Like, if at any point in the game I don't feel like interacting with the new shiny next to me, then I feel like it just shouldn't be there. Like, half of the new shinies are just the same thing, and I just don't enjoy that. And I get the purpose, and I do understand that people like collecting stuff, and I do understand people, but like, there are very important mechanics like hearts and inventory space locked behind these annoying ass collectathons.
Yeah.
I think just as I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate focused experiences more. In that, like, I think it's ironic that I hate busy work collectathon bullshit in Zelda, but absolutely love it in Stardew Valley, and it's one of my favorite games. But it's because when I'm playing Stardew Valley, that's what I'm signing up to do. When I'm playing Zelda, that is not what I want to be signing up.
Yeah, like
Well,
I,
and like
notice a lot of
in
what I
in
love about Tears
uh,
of the Kingdom.
I oh well, I just want to say that like in the older games, for example, when you like there are golden skulltulas in Ocarina of Time, and there are some pretty cool upgrades locked behind the golden skulltulas. However, they're never necessary, and they never like the game never feels like super hard if you don't do it. It just feels like a nice bonus if you do it.
it feels like discovering like almost like one of those old cheat codes in like older games that are just kind of like silly or interesting or like fun to mess around with for a bit.
Like you get a bigger wallet from like the skulltulas or whatever, and it's like okay, cool. That's nice. But I other than like one big wallet upgrade that's never like super necessary. Like you never have to collect like a fuck ton of skulltulas, and also like it's also like you never actually have to like go out of your way to get them, and they're super easy to get. It's not like they're locked behind a puzzle. They're just like in the dungeon you're doing, and you just like fucking slap them real quick and you got it. So it's like that's cool. Like I'm fine with collecting stuff as long as it's not like really difficult, and as long as like it's not tedious, and as long as the thing that's like locked behind it isn't like doesn't feel like it's necessary to progress, which like you know, especially when your goddamn swords break over and over again, inventory space feels like a goddamn necessity. Because like how am I gonna attack a thing when my 4 sticks broke and now I got nothing?
One more thing I will give Tears of the Kingdom. Because I think the only time the open world really like is like super fantastic for Tears of the Kingdom is just getting to use the fuse mechanic and all of the like combination of mechanics that the game itself has. Like skipping the collectathon bullshit, but there are some main areas that are phenomenal, and it fixes like a major Breath of the Wild problem, and I'll just put it that way.
That's exciting. I'm excited to play it when eventually I can play it in 60 frames per second, dude. That's gonna be the best fucking day ever.
I'm
Oh yeah,
so
my biggest
excited.
criticism, I had to play it on my dying 30 frames per second Switch, and I could only do like 45-minute
You mean
sessions without it
15
dying on me.
FPS?
I was gonna say that game runs like shit, and it's so upsetting.
Yeah.
Like, it's sad because I think it's something that legitimately hurts my enjoyment. If it was a stable 30, I don't think I'd bother. I'd be as upset. But like, dude, I literally in the first like
30
20 minutes,
FPS is more than good enough, but like when it's lagging on the hardware it's made for, it's like
It's like, dude, I forget. It's like the Great Sky Island, whatever the first area is
Yeah.
or whatever.
Don't get me
First
wrong.
thing I did.
I
sorry.
actually think that despite I think the game is good enough that despite the performance issues, that it is still enjoyable and playable. But if it just functioned as good as it should from the start, you know, it would be better.
I'm doing like a completely new replay on that new Switch. If it has like 60 frames, I'm just like wiping everything. I'm like, I'm
Oh
doing
yeah.
this again properly.
Dude, see, my thing is like, I just I don't know. It was like there was definitely a very sad moment for me when like.
Pokemon White.
Sorry.
For some
First
reason,
thing I
I didn't even think Pokemon White was a real thing. I thought you just made that up. I was like, that's a ROM hack. What the fuck are you talking about? And then,
First thing
and then I was like, oh right, Pokemon White. That's my most controversial take. We will not dig into this too deeply. I think Black and White suck. And moving on,
okay.
and moving on, and moving on, and don't
That's
even say
okay.
it's
That's
okay to
okay.
be wrong. Don't even go there.
I'm not even gonna fight you on this because I know it's pointless.
It's point. You will not change my mind.
I'm not gonna change your mind on it. And you know what, man? That's all right. You know, some of us don't like to try new things and have new experiences.
I love trying new things. I'm at the fucking Elite Four in Pokemon Black. I got to the Elite Four and I quit. I thought the game sucked so bad. I don't even remember any of it. I hate it. Anyway, I said we're not getting into it, so we're moving on. We're moving on.
Yeah.
Inventor.
No, you're good.
Inventor. We're moving
you're
on.
good.
It's okay
You're
that
good.
you like
You're
it.
good.
I don't. Oh, Gigi, go
It's-
next.
Zach, it's okay. It's okay. Like, you know, you could have there.
Calm
there
down,
are more
Grandpa. Calm down. It's okay,
There
Grandpa.
there are more controversial Pokemon opinions to have, dude. Like, dude, you could say like you like Sword and Shield or some shit, and like, I think that would incite way more frustration in this call.
I
than
think
saying
I
you
have
don't
like the
Black
most
and White.
nuclear Pokemon take.
What is that?
Sword and Shield were better than Sun and Moon.
That's not a nuclear take, but
For
I don't
some it is. For some it is.
dude, yeah, man. If you scrape the fucking 3 worst Pokemon games off the bottom of the barrel, dude, like people like ranking Scarlet and Violet, Sun and Moon, or Sword and Shield over each other in different orders, like really doesn't phase me because they're all like, I think Sun and Moon is the best of those 3, and
I've
I
heard
think it's
good things
actually
about Sun and
shameful.
Moon.
It's honestly, I take back what I said. I think it's actually shameful to compare Sun and Moon to Sword and Shield in any capacity, and you're an idiot. But
I think Sword and Shield are so uncomfortably bad for me. I cannot look. This is also look. I want to say this. One of the reasons I don't like Breath of the Wild, one of the big reasons, despite not having finished it, or Tears of the Kingdom, a large part of my criticism is that it doesn't give me a vibe that makes me want to finish it. And that's like a big part of my criticism. Like, when I played like the original Ocarina of Time, I was hooked and I could not get enough of it. All I wanted to do was fucking like go somewhere where someone had it and play the fuck out of it. When I got like Pokemon games like Diamond and Pearl, for example, bro, I did not put that shit down. When I got Pokemon Black, on the other hand, it's like, it's fine. And then I couldn't finish it, and I was like, meh. Which is one of the reasons why I think I don't like it as much. Like, one of the reasons I think it's not as good. One of the reasons I think Breath of the Wild is not as good. It's like, I don't even know how to necessarily put my feelings into words properly, other than it didn't capture me in the same way that the other games did. And therefore, the other games are better because they captured me. And I wish I could explain it better than that. And I'm attempting to right now by playing Majora's Mask all the way through, so that way I can hope to capture my feelings on Majora's Mask, for example, better. Also, weird thing about Majora's Mask is I actually played Majora's Mask for the first time, like at the same time that I played Ocarina of Time for the first time, basically. Which I think is interesting. What it?
I have no idea what you just did, so I just opened up another tab to something, and it was making me laugh so fucking hard.
Yep, you and I have way different opinions on Pokemon Black and White, and I refuse to rehash those. Yeah, you should never talk to me about Black and White.
Dude, my hot take, well, not even my hot take. my opinion. You know what? I'm gonna spit some fuck opinions. I'm spitting facts only. Scarlet and Violet are hot garbage. I fucking hate those games, and I'm baffled that I ever enjoyed them.
No. Scarlet
Dude,
and Violet are good.
The fact that they were just released like what $30 DLC that runs worse than the fucking base game and has basically no content is mind melting. Like, oh my lord, dude. I think it's crazy because we've talked about this before.
Duraludon evolution, but
I will say this about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. They are not as good as I would want them to be, but they did capture me in a very good way. And so I think they are good games, and I think that they are good. I think that they're worth the money that they were. That is simply put, I think that they were good enough. I'm disappointed with them because I know how Pokemon could be, and I know how good Pokemon has been. So I'm disappointed because I know that there's more that could be done, and there's more enjoyment I could get from the amount of money that I spent. But I will say the money I spent was worth it. But I have no interest in buying or playing the DLC, and I also have no interest in completing Area Zero. I got to Area Zero, and I was like, I'm never going to play this again. And then I put it down.
It's like actually fucking highway robbery that people are willing to spend money on a fucking DLC that is so broken. Like, it is more... Zach, I don't know if you've seen any clips of this shit, man. It runs so much worse than even the base game. It's crazy. Like, Scarlet and Violet have areas that run like shit, like the lake or whatever, or like whenever it starts to rain. But like, dude, the whole fucking area, the whole fucking area of the DLC runs like the lake did in base Scarlet and Violet. It is insane.
Oh no.
And like, dude, like people are just so willing to just shovel out like basically $100 for what we used to pay $30 for.
I think that it sucks. I think that it sucks in one way that people are willing to do that, because it means that like those of us that aren't are not gonna get better stuff, because like as long as Pokemon's fucking shoveling our money into their mouths, then they're not gonna stop doing it. You know what I mean? They'll stop beating the dead horse when it stops spitting out money. But that being said, people that have the money and don't care, like for me personally, I have to respect the fact that they understand that they're getting fed like kind of blah, but they don't really care because they're getting more of what they want. And so like fine, like it's
so
like
I wouldn't even have a problem.
It's like Taco Bell is not good for you, but if someone wants to eat Taco Bell all day every day, then like all right,
dude, I won't even like, you know what, Zach, if people who like Scarlet and Violet but can acknowledge its faults, then that's fine, man. Like I just like how you said with the Taco Bell example, that's chill. Like I have no objection to that. I'm just so sick of this like delusional bullshit where people pretend it's like at all acceptable to release a game like that in 2023, in 2022. Dude, like it's crazy to me that people will actually say like, well, I don't know what all this lag conversation is about because it runs at a perfectly stable 30 frames per second on my Switch, so I don't know what's up with that.
Okay, you are attacking like, Zaz directly.
Am I? I'm not even looking at chat.
No, Zaz said I haven't had any issues with my Switch, but it might be because of the newer system.
Dude, how do those boots taste, dude? That shit's crazy.
Stop.
Dude, that's actually mental to me, man. I'm gonna continue to not read chat because that is actually, I have nothing nice to say.
Relax.
Guys.
I'm not even mad. Can
we all take a deep breath real quick? I want to take a step back before we continue to rip into each other.
Oh, I'm not.
No. Hold on. I understand. Everyone, real quick, I just want to take a step back, and I want to say, Nintendo games are so fun and good, and our childhoods were awesome. Yeah.
They were
Ugh.
Nintendo games were good, dude.
Oh, hey. Dude, remember when I said take a step back for a second, man? Hold on. Chill.
Dude, like
We're
I
focusing on
guess
the positive for just a second, my man.
I think I'm just jaded because all of my favorite Nintendo franchises I feel have been on the decline to varying degrees. Like I think Zelda is like not as good as it used to be, at least in my opinion.
I think Zelda
Pokemon
has declined the least because it has also gone up drastically in many regards.
completely agree. I think Zelda is the one that like is like had made this. It's like more that it's stayed the same.
It's
hasn't,
yeah,
like,
it's gone up
grown.
in some ways and down in other ways there before like just completely evening out, like as still just great.
I think Fire Emblem has gone to shit.
Wow.
What'd you say, Michael?
Wow.
I don't know what that
Sorry.
means.
I can't
I was
understand the
making-
words you're saying.
Yeah, sound effect.
Oh, okay. I thought you were trying to
Dude,
say
I-
like something and that I didn't understand too.
There,
no, I
there
was
has
like, boom, wow.
Ah,
like there has not been a good Fire Emblem game since like fucking Awakening, dude, and that is actually so depressing. I mean Echoes was alright, but like holy shit, man. That's a whole other can of beans. I think Pokemon is just like absolutely in the fucking toilet.
though.
You know what?
Hold
I-
on. Wait. Hold on. It's in the toilet in some ways, but there has to be some acknowledgement, I think, that Scarlet and Violet are way better than Sword and Shield were, and that they did make improvements.
They did. I like
what?
Pokemon for the music and the Pokemon design.
I also
At this
agree
point.
with Zaz. I think there's a certain level where it's like, there is a certain level of just being like, I think that there is a certain level of like recognizing that like sometimes you feed into your own, I'm not just talking about you, Colin, I mean in general with people, where you're feeding into your own like hater energy and cynicism, and like it kind of blinds you from being able to see the good in something that does have a lot of good. Because there are also bad things about the old Pokemon games, and there are also bad things about like the old Zelda games.
Oh,
Like there
absolutely.
are problems in them. And so it's like part of this is also like now being an adult and no longer a child, and the fact that you're spending your own money, and also the fact that like, you know, these are like franchises and markets that have matured, so there's a lot more like precedent to compare it to. Like if these games were like the second, third, fourth generation game and not the like 10th generation game, it wouldn't have nearly as much of like an ability for us to be like, man, fuck this shit. It'd be like, wow, this is pretty fucking cool. So there is like a certain amount of like tempering our opinion that I think is necessary, where you're like, okay, I'm feeding into the hater sauce a little much, and like I can take a step back and recognize that like these games are still fun and enjoyable and good fun and worth what I'm paying for them.
Oh, well, yeah. So, maybe I'm not expressing myself super well. I have way more issue with the discourse surrounding these games and like the copium than I do necessarily the games themselves. Like they are what they are, and I feel like if you know, like I enjoyed Scarlet and Violet, but I went into it accepting what I was getting. And I'm not gonna pretend that it's this like not buggy, not glitchy, unoptimized like mess. You know what I mean? Like I think that discourse I think is so fucked, particularly among Nintendo fans. Maybe it's just because it's the games I care the most about, and I pay the most attention to those discussions. Like I don't know how Call of Duty fans talk about their own series, for instance, because I just don't care.
You want to know? Oh, you don't care. Okay.
But like, it's just what it is. Like I've never played a Call of Duty game,
Never
and I
mind.
probably never will. But like,
You want to know? I'll give you a TLDR super quick on Call of Duty franchise. The Call of Duty
I'm
franchise.
just gonna scream.
No. The Call of Duty franchise is like, this is how the discourse goes. I'm never buying another Call of Duty again. Holy shit, this game looks cool. Pre-ordered. 1 month in. Holy fuck, this game is just the same fucking thing and is buggy and laggy. Fucking goddamn it, I'm never pre-ordering a goddamn Call of Duty game again. Next game. Oh my god, I thought they said they weren't coming out with anymore. I am never pre-ordering another game. Modern Warfare 3? What the fuck? Oh, it's November? Guess I'll pre-order real quick. Oh, god damn it, this game sucks. Duped again. That's the Call of Duty discourse. You know what? How they get you every time though, Colin? With Call of Duty, for example, they put high rise in Modern Warfare 3.
I'm gonna come.
So see, he's gonna buy
No, they
Modern
put
Warfare 3 for high rise.
No, they put all of the MW2 maps in there.
Right.
on
So you're gonna
launch.
buy Modern Warfare 3.
I'm gonna nut and I'm gonna buy it. Even though I
See,
said I
and
wasn't
he's
going to.
and he's gonna buy it and he's gonna play it, and then 2 months in he's gonna drop it because it sucks, but he's gonna have a great time for 2 months and it's gonna be worth it for the first 2 months, and then he's gonna drop it, and he's gonna hate it, and he's gonna go, I'm never gonna buy it again. This shit sucks, and then they're gonna find another way to trick him into buying the next one. Me too, by the way. I bought Modern Warfare 2, so you know.
But yeah, I totally, it's, I guess like my frustration, I have no issue with anybody who like played any of these games that I may not necessarily enjoy as much or may have issues with and had fun with them, just to be totally crystal clear. Like I think there's nothing wrong with that. If you had a good experience with these games, that's totally cool. I think where I get frustrated is like, dude, if you look at discussion around Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, there is so much, and even Tears of the Kingdom. I think both these games have a similar problem, in that there is like actual, just straight up denial happening, that like people are fully convincing themselves that these games are optimized and run well on Switch hardware, and that's just not like true. And that is where I get so frustrated, because it's like, dude, if you enjoy it, you enjoy it, and that's fine, and like, just to clarify, like, I misunderstood Zaz's message, and I thought Zaz's message was about performance, not about glitches. Dude, if you haven't had any issues with glitches in Scarlet and Violet, that's awesome, and like, that is a fairly realistic experience for many. I didn't experience any glitches either. I experienced dog shit.
Oh yeah, for sure. I saw a lot of people that were like, "There's so many glitches. This game sucks. Not a single person can play this game without a single glitch." And then they keep pointing to like the weird like Miraidon glitch where you're like riding on and your character's all fucking zapped to shit, and you're like, "What the fuck?" Like, and I'm like, I like didn't experience that stuff at all, basically.
And that stuff can happen and is not good, but is not as big of a mark against the game as something like performance or it just kind of being ugly is.
Yeah.
Or like the world design. Like, let's have conversations about those things. But I where I get so like frustrated is with people who are just kind of denying that these are issues at all, and are even like saying like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. Even in By the Lake in the rain, my game ran into stable 30 and didn't drop any frames the entire time. And it's like, you're actually like, I don't know what is going on there, but like, I'm happy if you did experience that happened, but I do not believe you for a moment.
I would like to bring a.
There's also a difference between the handheld and the docked version. The docked version runs worse than the handheld. So
Yeah,
like when you're playing a handheld, it runs a lot better.
But even still, like, like just the whole thing, it's like, I just, the whole discourse around it is so fucked.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's insane that like,
I do agree. I think Zaz is not the coper that like.
No, not at all. I'm trying to make that very clear.
That Colin is talking about. To be very clear, there is a certain coper, like a certain type of coper, that Colin is upset about, or upset with, which is like the people that will excuse every problem the game has and make excuses for it when someone makes a valid criticism. It's like someone will make a valid criticism and they'll go, "No, I love Pokemon. How dare you say that it's not good? How dare you say that this game sucks ass?" It's like, I didn't say it sucks ass. Like, I said the frame rate's unacceptable. No. It's complicated. It's complicated. I understand. But hey, can we listen? You're not listening to the words I'm saying.
I'll show you complicated.
Like to give a different example, like, there's obviously been so many threads on Reddit and so many discussions on Twitter and on YouTube about like Scarlet and Violet and issues people have with it, and people can just express the opinion of like, hey, I enjoyed Scarlet and Violet, but was very disappointed that like none of the buildings in towns are like real buildings that are areas that you can explore with characters or anything. and that was something I
Yeah.
enjoyed in past games. And
That is a
people will
crazy thing where people are like, yeah, people are like, oh, but that's so much stuff to like build out and stuff. It's like, yeah, also, but every other Pokemon game since the beginning of
Well-
time allowed you to go to every single building, basically.
But it's not even that too. It's like people will literally say like, well, or they'll say like, why does that matter? Or they'll also say like,
it's a
dude.
degradation in the game.
it's like who cares, dude? Like you Pokemon fans will never be happy. Just like enjoy it.
I
Like have
did
fun like
enjoy
the rest
it.
of us. And
And
it's
I
You
like,
know
did
what
have
dude,
happens
fun.
when your game.
It's like- yeah.
You know what happens when your shit game doesn't have copers? You get Cyberpunk 2.0, baby. It's so much better. On
It-
release, Cyberpunk was shit. It was buggy. It was trash.
Well, yeah, that is
There
the
was not
problem.
a
That is the
single
annoying thing,
person
right?
on the internet that was like,
This is
yeah.
good. Everyone was like, yeah, this is so ass. That is
they were
that
like,
is
"This so
that is
shit."
one of the things,
And
right?
they
And
fixed
that's the
it.
thing, right?
what
Like no one who was criticizing Cyberpunk for not being good or like not working properly was like, this game isn't fun and I hate it and like I'll never play it and like I don't like it and it's blah 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 and if you enjoy it, fuck you. They were all saying this game has so much potential to be good and I want it to be what it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
And then
And
they
they
said,
made it.
okay, fine. But like the problem with Pokemon really is like there's so many people that are just like will not accept that there's anything wrong with it, even though it's like we could all just agree that there is problems with it and still enjoy it. We can enjoy it and also say there are problems that could be better. And then we would actually like the worst part is if you are a true fan of the game, you would get a better game by allowing criticism.
Exactly. Sorry, I just had to throw that in there, just to show that.
It is interesting that
Criticizing
people
a
are saying
game.
like people have said that like the Tears of the Kingdom on OLED ran better than like the non-OLED version, which is interesting because the OLED version has all the same internals. So it's very interesting that that's apparently the case.
Well, and the thing is, people might have observed that, and there might be validity to that because older Switches just objectively are running games worse due to age. Like that hardware is deteriorating. Like old
Mhm.
Switch models have like straight the fuck up, and this is just a fact. If you got your Switch in the first month or two of release, your Switch literally, if it has a certain serial number like mine does,
Yep,
it
mine does
actually
too.
shipped with a heating management issue. And that
Mhm.
like there are a lot of people who got their Switch month one who have Switches that are like actually melting themselves on the inside due to like an improper installation of the heatsink and like the heat management system, the fans and whatnot. And
It's
as a
also
result-
the battery overheating.
I hate Tingle as well, but also I think I might be Tingle. He's like, I'm a fairy guy. I'm 35. My father tells me to grow up and act my age, but I'm a fairy. I'm like, I'm 25. I'm a streamer. My dad tells me to grow up and act my age, but I'm a streamer.
I literally replaced the CPU fan and reapplied the thermal paste on my Switch, and that did not fix the heating problem.
But dude, I just fucking like I think I would be a much happier person if we all accepted new Nintendo releases for what they are. And we're just like, okay, this game's got some big issues and we can agree on that.
Wait. I like Tingle and Wind Waker, and for one specific reason. You could plug your Game Boy Advance into the GameCube and then put Tingle on your like thing and then have like the map on your like Game Boy Advance, which I thought was really cool. It also made for a good two-player experience. My cousin Lex used to watch me play every game that we played, and she loved watching me play the games, but she couldn't play them because she sucked at games, and also just like genuinely like she enjoyed watching more than playing, and it gave her something to do, so she was able to be my navigator whenever we played. So like we'd play the game, I'd put Tingle on the Game Boy Advanced thing, and then she would navigate for me while I played the game, and I thought that was sick as fuck.
That's awesome, actually.
So I can't get up there, which sucks.
I like I don't know. I think I'd be a much happier person overall if we as people just accepted these new Nintendo releases for what they are, acknowledged their faults, and recognized that we as people may enjoy them at different degrees, and that's okay. But we can at least all like live in the real world where these games have flaws that we can talk about constructively and how they should be improved upon.
The good
And if
ending.
like that's sincerely how I feel, and I only get so animated about it because people just like would rather make bad faith arguments and pretend
Well,
that like
Yeah, and
like people would rather pretend that again Scarlet and Violet ran at a stable 30 frames per second or better on their Switch with no issues at all. Like that's not even possible. And I just, that is just that shit pisses me off because it's like, dude, we're trying to talk about like you can't reason with people who are not talking about like the real world. And I feel this way about video games, and I'm realizing that I get so frustrated about this because I get so frustrated about this exact same fucking uphill battle of arguing with people who are living in Fantasyland.
Well, and the worst part is
Because-
it's like games are also supposed to be an escape from the real world, but also the state of games just constantly reminds you about the state of like late stage capitalism we're in, where they're like so much more profit driven than they are like artistic expressions. And you're like,
Yeah.
fuck. It's like I can't even escape with the fucking game because the game sucks.
But it's just funny because like I argue about video games with people who are like living in Fantasyland and aren't willing to talk about like how they could be constructed, like improved upon in future iterations. And I literally run into the exact same problem of arguing with people living in Fantasyland when I'm arguing about politics and they're talking about random boogeymen that just absolute dipshit conservative pundits just made up last night on Fox News. Like
I
like
missed.
the
Hold on,
same
I
thing.
missed something. We were talking about video games, and then I was reading something on the screen, and then I heard the Republican pundits on Fox News, and I was like, "Where did we? Hold on."
I was just saying, I
you
was
were
making
making a
comparison.
metaphor, I think, but I missed the connecting part of this statement.
Yeah. I was making a comparison that I get frustrated arguing. I get frustrated for the root of my frustration in both politics and video games is the same. It is arguing in video games. It is arguing with people who are going to pretend that Scarlet and Violet are perfect games with no problems and run in stable 60 frames per second 1080p on their Switch, which is just not possible. You know, they're living in Fantasyland. And I get into arguments with people in politics who are living in Fantasyland because they're trying to argue with me about the new, boogeyman that was made up by a conservative pundit on Fox News last night.
Yeah, people
Like, you
living in
can't-
fantasy lands, i.e., yeah, they can't agree on facts. Yeah, I 100% agree. It's so frustrating to talk to someone where like you're trying to be like, I'm not even talking about my opinion anymore. I'm talking about the factual issues, which is like, okay, like let's say, for example, with Scarlet and Violet, like they don't run at a high frame rate. It's like that's the real fact that is actually true. And then you're like, no, it runs great. It's like, why are you faking that? What the fuck are you talking about?
It just reminds me of like I don't know if everyone else's schools did this, but when we learned science in elementary school, like very basic science, like what a hypothesis is, what the scientific method is. The way they explain it to us in like second or third grade was there's like different levels of conversation about like intellectual subject, right? There's level 1 conversations where we're just talking about what we know to be objectively true, like the facts of the case. We're just sharing things that are just factual. And then there's level 2 conversations, which are talking about those facts and what they mean in a broader sense and what information we can glean from them. And it's funny because like we can't even get to level 1 conversations in these discussions because like
Yeah, it's
we're
like
just not. That's the thing.
It's-
We're
yeah,
stuck
it's
at
like-
level 0.
it's like we want to talk about like, is it okay for the frame rate to be bad or not? But we can't even get to the like opinion on the frame rate because we can't even agree on the fact that the frame rate is actually bad. Like, the frame rate is lower. No, it's not. I want to discuss about the frame rate, but I can't even get your opinion on if the frame rate being bad is a bad thing because you won't agree that the frame rate is bad. but
And
it's
then-
not a
then-
thing to agree on. It's just it is.
And then in politics, it's and then in politics it's like guys, the ocean is getting warmer and this is something we should be worried about. Like, how do we respond to the ocean literally objectively becoming warmer over the past 20 years? And people are like, duh, they're transing the kids. It's like, what is happening? like,
I'm
Like,
going
we're-
to bed, bro. Good night.
Good night.
it's like how do we communicate? Like, how do we overcome? How do we reach the level 1
Dude,
conversation?
that was my uncle. Whenever I was a kid, he was like, global warming's not real, and I was like, why? I'm like 11, and I'm like, why? And he's like, because winters are getting colder, and I was like, he's like, the last 3 winters have been the coldest winters. I'm like, oh.
It's just.
I'm
it's
like, have
just
you?
so
I'm like, what are you talking about, man?
It's like we need to take this.
I'm like, you're
we need to-
coping so hard.
It's like we need to step this up to a level 1 conversation.
Like, those
we
are
need to agree.
Those are
on
facts.
the
I'm like,
facts.
I agree with you that those are facts. However, that does not mean that the world is not getting warmer.
That is like my number 1 frustration in anything.
It's like the world's
Like,
not getting warmer because the winters in Missouri have gotten colder the last 3 years. What? Dude.
I joined on an interesting conversation.
Dude, this conversation has been so much fun.
It's because Pokemon Breath of the Wild is not good.
It's just funny because, like, I don't know. It's
Oh yeah, I got Moonstone Island from Chins.
I actually really want to try.
I'm so
Moonstone
excited to
Island,
play it.
bro. I was doing some research into it. It seems awesome.
Hi, Inventor.
It's just funny because, like, you know, I never think I really understood what like a pet peeve was or like a deal breaker, right? Like,
If my girl
like-
likes Scarlet and Violet, it's over. Wait.
no, but like I think for
My
instance,
girl
like,
does
I mean,
like Scarlet and Violet. Oh
Like,
no.
whenever people talk about what deal breakers are for them in like a relationship or a friendship, they're like, they say very obvious things that are like, okay, duh. Like, obviously you would not get along with this. You would not want to be friends with this person if they were like fucking racist or something. Like duh. That's not a deal breaker. That's just being like a good human being.
I mean, yeah, but not
okay,
everyone.
you-
It's a deal breaker, you know. It's like,
but you know what I mean. Like that's
yeah,
just
yeah,
like
of course.
that's
What
just
if
like the
JD
foundation. Like people are like, yeah, dude. A big deal breaker for me would be like if they just became like spontaneously like incredibly violent and started just beating the shit out of everyone around.
You know
them.
what would be a
It's like-
deal breaker for me? If they were the most shitty asshole demon person. Yeah.
It's like, dude, it'd
I
be a
hope
deal breaker
so.
if they were like a
Yeah, the problem
if they like
the problem
if
is
they, like,
that that's not a deal breaker for everyone. That's like people say that. People are like,
It's
that's
like,
a deal
dude-
breaker for me because it's literally not for everyone.
it's like, dude, like I don't know, man. I don't know how everyone at the table feels about this, but it'd be a pretty big deal breaker. It'd be a very big issue for me if the girl I was seeing would just compulsively murder people, would just suddenly just kill other human beings.
Nah, bro,
And I'm
that's
like,
hot.
I kinda like that.
That's
I
kind
kinda
of
like
hot,
that.
my boy.
and so it's just funny because like that's not a deal breaker to me. A deal
I'm kind of down
breaker,
with that.
like I've never understood
Kind of
like
a deal breaker to me if she doesn't randomly murder people.
a deal breaker to me is like a deal breaker to me is like a small thing that you specifically don't like that other people might be like, oh, that's not that big of a deal. Whereas I think it's so much funnier. Like I thought pet peeves were kind of the same thing. Like pet peeves are like a small thing that bothers you might not bother everybody else, dude. But like people get really irrationally angry, I feel like, about their pet peeves, and it's something I've never been able to relate to until I realized that my pet peeve is people not being able to graduate from those level 0 conversations, those level 1 conversations, and like agree on facts. That is my pet peeve because I can't be in the same room as somebody who's pulling that shit with me because it gets me so pissed off. I get so angry. And that was like my light bulb moment where I was like, dude, I totally understand that. Anyway, that was my thought.
So real and valid. What a time to return. Yeah, Dizzy, Majora's Mask. I've never finished this one. I love Zelda games. That's where this whole conversation started. So in case anyone's wondering why the fuck we're talking about people being shitty and not agreeing on facts and random shit and level 1 conversations and global warming, it's because I'm playing Majora's Mask for the first time all the way through to get a valid opinion on it. And we started talking about Breath of the Wild, and the rabbit hole has gone deep, baby. Now, real quick, everyone, I personally think that Colin has a valid opinion, so can I get everyone to say valid in chat? Can I get valid in chat real quick?
Can I get some
No, go
Drakes
fuck
in
yourself,
chat?
Colin.
Because I'm always right.
No, I need the valid. There we go. Valid opinion ticket. That's your valid opinion ticket, Colin.
Also, V Mandarinia. I like the message a lot, in that I think that they just hit the nail on the head. I think it's a perfectly legitimate conversation for people to disagree and discuss whether it's a big deal if a game is only at 30 frames per second or 60 or whatever the fuck. That's personal preference. If it doesn't bother some people, that's cool.
The bigger issue isn't that the game
also cool.
runs at 30 FPS, it's that it factually runs at less than that.
Yes, and the thing is, like, we can have that conversation of preferences. Does it bother you? Does it not bother you? But you're 100% hitting the nail on the head, V, in that we can't even have that conversation about preferences or if it's a problem or not if someone is coming into that conversation just like fucking pretending that something that is not true is true. You know what I mean? Like, and that is like the foundation, that is the crux of my frustration with not just conversations about Pokemon games or video games or whatever, but just like people in general. I hate that shit. And you just worded that in a very succinct. You just worded very succinctly in a single Twitch message what I've been kind of trying to say for the past hour and a half. Because I'm bad at words. And I'm super constipated.
What?
Thanks for telling us.
That's actually very cool.
I mean, look, man. Openness is honesty is the best policy.
I bet you wish you were open right now.
I really do, man.
Motherfuckers holding that shit in. No pun intended.
Like, I'm sure you've noticed, but talking.
The
is
only
not
time, dude, only time Zelda's mentioned in this game. You got the Ocarina of Time back. Princess Zelda gave you the precious instrument. Now forget Zelda exists in the Legend of Zelda game.
Like, talking is not that hard. Like, talking, my voice and my speaking has come a long way, as I'm sure you've noticed. But
It is.
holy hell, dude. Painkillers absolutely fuck up my tummy. And, like, that shit is not okay.
Oh, dude, even today, since the beginning of the conversation, when you first came in, your voice was sounding a lot more weak than it does right now. Like, you've already, like, it sounds like you've gotten a lot more strength in your voice just having the conversation.
Yeah, my doctor told me that talking is good for me, but I should just know when to take a break. Like, if it starts to hurt, then I stop. But he said objectively it is, like, good for you to be talking.
That's good. And you're like,
So that's why
you're like, no, I'm gonna go mute. No, I'm not listening to your facts. Fuck you.
So Gumball.
Voice strength, like bashing video games.
Mari.
Yeah, dude.
Mhm.
Nothing quickly brings my voice back to life quite like talking about video games and Republicans, dude. That's my two. Like, you want to fucking resuscitate me? Forget the fucking not the EMP, the defibrillator. Forget those things. Just like whisper in my ear like some absolute bullshit. Like,
Bro, Colin's laying dead on the ground after being hit in the face by a bus, and I get down
We
real
need
close.
to lower minimum wage.
I get down real close to Colin's ear and I go, "Hey, Sword and Shield are objectively the best Pokemon games in the series."
it's like a medical miracle, dude. My heart is just like suddenly restarted. Yeah, no, I'm like dead on the floor, like literally no pulse for hours, and you whisper in my ear like Ron DeSantis is occasionally right about some things. And I will burst to life. In fact, I might come back to life in such a shock, in such a hurry, that I might actually stop my heart on accident. And with how much movement you just created within my system.
Back in my day, we paid for our own college and housing. Kids these days are just lazy.
I just start seizing. My corpse does not lay still.
Every time someone has a bad take, Colin rolls in his coffin.
I do. And I've been rolling around an awful lot.
The elephant fact?
Yeah, that's true. The elephant fact. That's actually a deep cut, and I appreciate that you remembered that.
I'm gonna need a little bit of a catch-up class real quick.
That's insane because you've definitely heard me say this like maybe 45 times. But
Well, then
basically,
I need a refresher because I have the memory of a goldfish and can only remember what has happened in the last week. Hence why I wear Tyvek wristbands now, my man.
Do you remember why elephants are my favorite animal, Zach? It's okay if you don't.
No.
Because I would love. It's okay. It's okay. Totally fine that you don't remember because I would love to share again. Basically, I learned a while ago that elephants.
Yes, playable
No,
instruments. Okay, sorry.
Scientists did a brain scan or did like brain activity monitoring of elephants when they were exposed to different stimuli. And when elephants look at human beings, the same parts of their brain light up and have activity as do in humans when we see puppies or kittens or things that we think are very cute.
When they see what?
When they see humans. Meaning like
humans are so cute.
Elephants are fascinated by us in the same way that and think we're adorable in the same way we think like dogs and cats and hamsters and shit are adorable. And that is
hamsters.
All right, well that's a fucking you problem.
Yeah, you need to grow up.
Yeah, get a grip.
Quite frankly. Can I get some get a grips in chat?
They live for like a year on average. What could a hamster ever have done to you?
Very easily.
Bro did not have a good time that one time he shoved one up his ass.
It just went to
Bro's
town
hamster died in such a traumatic way that he hates
That stupid fucker left me too early.
All right, well, this guy is definitely... I bet you're the guy who's
apparently
hamster...
they're not edible.
This guy's hamster definitely not on a wire when he was 5 years old and electrocuted itself.
Oh my.
This is a safe space if you want to talk about it.
No, it's not.
No, it's not anymore.
Sorry.
Not when I'm here.
Bro, how do you think the mask salesman feels? He just played that song for me twice, and I immediately fuck it up. He's like, were you even listening?
I would stand up and kick Link.
Just fucking punt him across the fucking clock tower. It goes like this. Do, 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 do. Okay, again, it's do, 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 do. It's the same three notes repeated twice, okay? The do, 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 do. It's ba.
Looks up the first note.
I remember it took me so long to figure out how to become a human as a kid. The main reason I hated Majora's Mask as a young kid was because I didn't know you could turn back into a human. I thought you were stuck as the Deku for the whole game.
I thought you meant in real life.
As a kid, I didn't know how to become human in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's true. That is also true, but that's not what I was talking about.
Well.
Oh my god, this game is about masking.
Autism.
You gotta wear masks to fit into the groups in the game. Ugh. This game's not about death or finding yourself or dealing with the loss of your childhood. This game's about being neurodivergent. Get it back, didn't you? Oh yeah, the part where he kills the child.
I like that.
Put your fake nose out. What? What?
He fucking grabs him and starts shaking him.
That's what I would have done to him when he messed up the note. You fucker. The mask that was stolen from me, it's called Majora's Mask. The name of the game.
Oh
A
my
gnocchi. It's an accursed item from legend.
God. Colin's dead.
No, I'm here.
Evil and wicked powers bestowed upon the one who wears that mask. Just woke up. Good morning. Why you CB? Why you so CB? Wanna talk to JD about hamsters? Preventing its misuse. The ancient ones. A tribute from the legend has vanished. Hey Colin, have you ever seen the quesadilla that JD eats?
What?
Have you ever seen the quesadilla that JD eats?
No.
Oh. The JD special. Let's just say that JD woke up one morning with a hankering for some food. And JD does not have a very wide palate. So JD made a cheese quesadilla with ketchup slathered all over the top of it for breakfast.
That just made me nauseous. That just
Oh
made
my
me
god, oh my
very
god.
nauseous.
Ketchup with a side of quesadilla. Fuck, I have to provide an interviewer with this code thing to prove my right to work and I don't have a way to print. Should I just sticky note? Might as well. If you just have to have the code, then you should be fine. Use salsa? But salsa has tomatoes in it. Ketchup thought that was a Canada thing. Listen here. I like what I like. No. I have to wake up
I
for an interview
have,
4 hours. I'm not going library too.
I
Yeah.
have one last opinion before I depart.
Huh.
I think
No, you don't.
I think that if you are a Pokemon fan in any capacity, maybe you used to enjoy the games years ago, maybe you still enjoy the games today, whatever that looks like for you, Pokemon Crystal Clear is a must-have experience as a Pokemon fan. It is so incredible. I have not had a Pokemon game grip me in the way this has
Oh?
since I was like a child.
It did what?
And that, like, you know, like what you were saying earlier, like when you get a new Pokemon game, like you would not put that shit down until it was finished. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
hmm
Like
Colin.
that is how I've got 133 hours logged in this fucking game in like a month. It is so good, and I can't recommend it enough to anybody. You can emulate it for free, and it is a fucking masterpiece.
Colin,
So
do you think I'd be able to like emulate that on the 3DS I'm getting?
for sure, actually, it's you can actually so how Crystal Clear can work is you can download it as a ROM, or you can download it as a patch that can be applied to Pokemon Crystal, and that patch is compatible with the 3DS Virtual Console version of Pokemon Crystal.
Ooh. I think
So
I'm gonna
you-
play that when I get my 3DS then.
It's amazing. I think if you have, I think especially if you play it on an emulator that has a fast forward option for some of the grinding, you know, might save you some time here and there. Because I mean, some of the old OG Game Boy games have some clunkiness that isn't for everybody. I don't mind it, but I can't deny that having a fast forward option is very nice for like completing the decks or something.
Whenever that arrives, is it chill if I DM you or at Zach? Is it okay if I DM you or Colin to like help me set up my 3DS?
Ironically, I think the person that you should DM about it, I'm happy to help, but the person who should help you is not me. It is Tyler Himbo Tyler. Tyler you.
Tyler Gay Tyler, okay.
Yes, because Tyler is like the modded 3DS friend in our friend group who like was the first to mod his 3DS and was like evangelizing to the rest of us about why we should too.
Let me DM him right now.
Because if nothing else, he can direct you to the website he directed me to. There's a website that's literally like step by step what you should do if you're like a fucking baby who doesn't have like a functional brain. Like it will hold your hand through every step of the process. And like I'm so bad with technology and like I didn't fuck it up. So like it's great.
Also,
I just knew that you had gotten one for someone a while ago, so I asked you.
Yep. Yeah, it took like an hour. Hang on a second.
Alright.
I'll send you the link right now. Yep. It's this website. I'm DMing it to you now. This website, it's literally like compiles all the files you need, everything in one place.
Chance, real quick.
Like,
Yes.
Make sure you don't update your Nintendo 3DS because there is an update that Nintendo released to specifically stop modding them. Yeah. And also, out of curiosity, how much did you get yours for?
More than I was hoping.
Oh yeah, because the market is bad.
yeah,
And I was curious if you actually managed to get a good deal or not.
because what I'll say too is if you're going to mod a 3DS and you want to order it online, highly, 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 highly recommend getting a Japanese 3DS instead. Because the Japanese market is flooded with them, and literally as soon as you mod it, you can just instantly remove the region lock, and it can become functionally an English 3DS, or like an American 3DS.
I wish you would have told me that.
Hey man, I didn't know you. I didn't know. I thought you were going to a store to get it, but I didn't know that plan didn't work out. So, at that point, by the time you had already ordered your 3DS on the internet, I couldn't have stopped you.
Damn it.
It definitely adds some additional steps that aren't necessarily fun, but
Damn it.
on the bright side, you got like my favorite model of 3DS, like period. So, like you definitely came out good.
Okay. Well,
Like I think the OG 3DS XL is very nice.
yes, XL 3DS. Yum yummy. So good. Part of the reason Nintendo tries to stop their fans, not to defend too hard, but because of the way copyright law works, they defend their IP and shit. Hold on.
Isn't copyright law like very slippery? So Nintendo just fucking
Yeah,
guards it like a
Nintendo
dog.
guards it super hard because there's a problem with copyright where, like, for example, if you don't defend your copyright, then you lose your right to it. Like Xerox, for example. Like if people start
Why
calling
are you walking with your fuck?
if people start calling every printer a Xerox, then Xerox kind of like loses its right to the name Xerox, which is fucked. Which is why Nintendo is so strong-handed about like people not calling all gaming consoles Nintendos, or like, they're so strict about modding and stuff because like basically they're very scared that if they don't protect their shit, that that they'll lose their rights to the things that they made, basically. So it's a complicated thing, but yeah.
I think Sega's policy on it is like you can't make money from the game. But otherwise they're okay with it. I could be wrong, but I think the reason they're okay with Sonic fan games is because it's very explicitly
good night,
like,
FOMO.
no money can be generated from the game. But
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
okay
like-
to make
Like Sega has like said some crazy shit about like how they view Sonic as like an IP, and that like there have been times in the past 5 years that Sega has flirted with the idea of like letting Sonic and its characters just enter the public domain, which is fucking insane.
That's nuts.
Um, obviously that hasn't happened to my knowledge, but like they have a very different like view of. They're much less protective of Sonic's IP. So, like-
But they-
Nintendo shuts down
They also like,
non.
to be fair, or to be clear, their shit's already like rocked basically. So it's like,
It's a different situation for
Yeah,
sure. Like,
like-
it's very apples to
like they don't even
oranges.
have like consoles or anything anymore, and they basically are just like whatever in the market, and they have other IPs and games that they can make and shit, but they're just a game developer and not like a console developer and shit. So basically,
reason
Nintendo
Nintendo is
needs
so-
to keep their strong stranglehold in order to keep their market
Yeah.
share.
They've released so much stuff and have so much stuff out that if they like let up on how they like stranglehold fan games and that kind of stuff, it would not
Yeah.
end well for them.
Well, I mean,
The-
like
the-
breaking
the
it down
issue,
even
right,
simpler.
It
like,
just comes down to like there's literally a problem with copyright law, which is that like if someone like if I refer to all tissue as Kleenex, if Kleenex doesn't try to stop that, basically if Kleenex doesn't defend their brand as Kleenex, then anyone could start selling their tissues as Kleenexes, and then even though Kleenex is Kleenex, other people could still call their things Kleenexes. Like,
yeah, under the law, it becomes considered like a generic.
yeah, it's genericide is what it's called.
And so the thing that the reason why Pokemon, like for instance, like Nintendo is so protective of like Mario, is like if a big enough population of people start to believe that they can get a better modern experience playing Mario games without the need for a Switch. Nintendo's also a hardware manufacturer. Like they are going to see, like it will definitely hurt for. They have a belief that it will hurt, sales of say like the new Mario game dropping, which like to some degree it definitely does. Like, and I'm not saying that it's necessarily like 100% right. I think it's very complicated. I think
It's like
It's- I
one of
think
the one of the reasons they started like attacking like the mods for Breath of the Wild, like right as Tears of the Kingdom was about to come out, is because like they need people to buy Tears of the Kingdom, so that way they sell Switches, and that they also sell Tears of the Kingdom. If people can get a better modded experience from Legend of Zelda, then
same thing with
night,
Smash.
Sarah.
Same thing with leading up to Smash 4 coming out for the Wii U. Nintendo cracked down super hard on Project M, like the Brawl mod, because they cracked down on it super hard because they're like, okay, we can't have people playing like a fucking Smash game that is getting enough updates and new content that it's basically a brand new Smash game. I mean, there were people adding like fucking characters and shit, like, and Nintendo's like, we can't have that. We can't have this perception out there where like Project M is like a poppin' category on Twitch, for instance, because it was actually a category on Twitch. It was that popular.
Mhm.
They're like, we can't have this PC Smash game that's getting updates and new content directly competing with our own games that we need to sell the 3DS and the Wii. So
Appreciate it,
they
like JD.
literally entered an agreement with Twitch that like if you stream Project M on Twitch.television. Twitch can literally just ban you instantly. It is like the only. It is one of the very few games that has that stipulation on Twitch. Like you're just your account gets clapped.
Holy
Stuff like
fuck!
that.
I just got 100 rupees. I'm feeling big, like my shmoney got meat.
Hmm?
I'm feeling big, like my shmoney got feet.
That's not.
What?
Anyway, I'm gonna go to bed for real. Love you guys. This was a lot of fun.
Love you, Colin.
Good night,
I'm gonna rest
Colin.
up. Better day tomorrow. See y'all around.
Bye.
I love that guy.
I hope he doesn't let the bed bugs bite. Unless he's into that.
I've already planted too many bed bugs in bed, so
How many bed bugs?
it's too late. Too many.
Too many.
It's fucked up.
I can't believe you do that. You planted bed
Zach.
bugs. Yeah.
I love you.
Me?
Mm. Yes.
With a capital E?
Yes.
What the hell?
Kisses you.
I'm gonna stop getting new players on my team.
Sticks my tongue down your throat. Sorry.
Whoa. This shit out. Sarah's gonna be very mad at you, Chance. Better watch your back.
Good night.
Did you say you're going to bed, Blair?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye, Blurry. Good night.
Blair, bye. Mm-mm-mm.
And then there were two.
Yippee!
Wig, I love you.
I mean, jokes, little guy. You haven't even got a single. What the fuck? Was that Ash Splurp?
Hmm? Was that what? What?
A blurp played, but I didn't know where the sound was coming from because I must have messed up the wire that has the sound going into my headphones because it sounded fucking whack on my end. Secret code.
1111. Ash! Whee! Jumps around.
Look, you can keep track of all your mini quests with this book. Yo, 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 if you don't shut your dumb ass up, I'ma shut it for you. Punk.
Bitch. 3DS. It's not gonna be lost media. Nintendo is a huge brand.
No, 3DS is gonna be lost media.
No.
Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
Nope.
What do you mean no?
Nope.
How?
I'm not elaborating. Nope.
What? Chat. What? Is this real?
Pepe Laugh doesn't know what lost media is. Pepe Laugh.
What do you mean?
I
You-
don't know what lost media is.
It means that the 3DS will eventually be completely gone and dead, and there won't be that many 3DSs or 3DS games to play, and no one will be able to get a 3DS anymore. thereby
What if I
being
had
lost.
anything to say about it?
What?
Hi, Ash. There is a game that I want to play. I emulated it a while ago, but I've already forgotten.
Whoa,
the name of it.
whoa. Emulation.
Sorry, I mean I legally bought it. Sorry, my bad. Bought it. I purchased it with my real life money. Anyways, it was on my Wii. Spectrobe's Origins. I played it. It was very fun.
Kinda.
I didn't get through much of it because the controls were kind of janky.
Why are you just staying up until your
But it was very
interview?
fun.
So what? Wait, what kind of game is it again?
It's like a Monster Tamer
Oh, yeah, okay.
game that
Good night,
came
Mark.
out. Good night, Mari.
Sorry, I didn't see that message before I asked. Sorry, that was a stupid question, having now seen that that message was sent before I said it.
It was
Got
called
this, Mari.
Spectrobes Origins, monster tamery game that I think wanted to rival Pokemon, but it just didn't.
Nothing can rival
didn't.
Pokemon unless they do it right.
Digimon tried.
Ew.
I love Digimon. Take that back now.
I will never, ever take back my distaste for
Fuck you.
Digimon.
Fuck you.
Mm,
I love Digimon.
that's fine.
Digimon, digital monsters.
I think some
are the
people,
champions.
you totally get this, but there are a lot of people that don't get that I am totally allowed to think something sucks and hate it and dislike it, and also for someone else to like it. This scene is so sad because this is the origin story of how Skull Kid became friends with the fairies, and it's basically saying like Skull Kid was lost and by himself in the cold rain, and so were the fairies, and they all got together and became good friends. And then basically, eventually, Skull Kid found the mask and basically dropped them. And this is like the story of fake ass hoes, bruh. Skull Kid is a fake ass hoe.
I was at a function, ran into Pokemon Gen 1 purists. They're real people. No, they're not.
I will remain silent. If I speak, I'm in trouble. What the hell? I don't have anything wrong with Gen 1 purists.
Because he is one.
No, I mean, like, I think the game got way better. Like, Gen 2, Gen 3 are fantastic.
My favorite is Gen 5. That's when
I'm gonna barf.
That's my reason is because that's when I like started playing the game, and it's like a point of nostalgia.
I get
so
that.
That's the reason.
Since when I first started playing Pokemon, Gen 3 had just come out.
Miss Feel is adorable.
Why don't you feel these nuts, bro?
Okay, grabs them.
Ah! What's that meme of the guy like screaming? Fuck. Like, he's like, ah!
Help! Help me!
No, not that.
Help. My favorite Pokemon is Miss Maggie. She's so pretty.
Speak to that.
What do you mean?
Speak to that.
How so?
Speak to that.
I am feminine, and Miss Maggie is feminine. I think she's very pretty, and I like her.
Gardevoir.
Miss Magus is feminine in a way that I cannot describe. That I love. And I think she's beautiful. She's my favorite Pokemon and has been since I found it.
Rah. Yeah, that one. That's the one. That's the one, Wigfoot. Monka Giga fucking Robert Downey Jr.
Monka Giga having sex with Robert Downey Jr., yeah. Wigfoot? Wigfoot?
Fucking Robert Downey Jr. What do you think of Sudowoodo's femininity? What? Oh?
Wigfoot, check your DMs. Ah. It's my team.
Dude, as soon as I talk to this guy, not as a Deku scrub, he's totally cool with me. Imagine.
He's racist.
Yeah. Like, actually, though. This game does confront, like, racism, basically, really heavily. Because, like, you turn into multiple different races throughout the game. And it's basically confronting the way that people treat people that look different. Likes twinks, I guess. Bruh. What is a twink? Chance, define twink.
Usually hairless, but not always.
I thought you were just gonna say you, and I was like,
No. Usually hairless, usually small, like, not petite, but like tinier build. Gay man.
Dun dun dun. Check, check, and check. Save your progress and quit here. Save your progress? Guess I want to save my progress. Loserman with 0 clout.
Wig.
Stenifer. My name in the game is Stenifer, by the way.
Your name in real life is also Stenifer, which I think is crazy.
How did you know that?
You literally told me.
Sorry. Oh, yeah? Well. Yeah. A AAA RoboCop game just released a demo of it today. It looks so cool. RoboCop demo fuel bing bong or something. I don't know. I didn't read it. Like, I feel like I should say something as if you had spoken. Like you spoke. An FPS game. What did I say? You said something? Welcome to the chat. Or whatever. Welcome to the chat or something, I guess. I don't know. Sorry, citizen. I'm having conversations with people in my head right now.
Yeah?
Sit on my Zelda tier list. 4th at best currently. That's why I'm trying to finish it for the first time. I'm gonna finish off Majora's Mask. Sorry, we only talk to humans. Okay, I'm a human. Oh shit! Want a potion? So you fed the voices in your walls. Mm-hmm. Yum, yum, yummy. Yeah, Ocarina of Time is the first best. What does she want again? Fragrant mushrooms. Okay, we gotta get fragrant mushrooms for the lady. Also, what up, Schultz? Welcome to the chat, my boy. My boy. Moon in it. Yeah, this is the moon game. This game goes like this. Dude, today was such a long, busy, fucking tiring ass day. I love that this game relies on sound. Like directional audio, like I have to listen to where the monkey noise is coming from and go that way. Found you. Better color palette. Twilight Princess is a really good game that tries too hard to be grungecore goth pill. Grungecore emo rock. It's too grungecore emo rock. But it is good. Where am I supposed to find the mushroom? Oh fuck, now what am I gonna do? Alright. Half after Ocarina came out and is described by some as weird. That's true, guys. Did you know this game is weird and dark and it only came out a year and a half after? You know this game is weird? Do you guys know that this game is actually kind of weird?
Do you guys know that this game is actually kind of weird?
It's actually not like the other girls.
Did you know that?
Hmm?
Huh?
Hmm?
Huh?
Did you know weird? Weird?
Did you know?
Did know weird? Weird?
Alright. I think I'm gonna dip because I am. How do I phrase?
I think I'm gonna dip because I don't want to be here anymore. Okay, that's fine.
DMDY. I'm gonna go.
I actually don't know what that means.
You know how Colin can't because of painkillers?
Oh, okay.
I'll be back, probably.
Okay. Yippee! Animal Crossing Legos. Alright. Guys, I might end the stream. My girlfriend wants to go to bed. And I would just be like, okay, well, she can go to bed. I'm gonna keep streaming. But the newest JJK episode came out tonight. So if I want to watch it tonight, then I gotta do it. 5-year-old man, that shit creeps me out. Yeah. Objectively the worst tooth. This one. Anime. I guess over your girlfriend. Well, this is my job. So. Work-life balance. I've only been live for 3 hours today, which is the rough part. But it's also been an extremely long day where I did my taxes and stuff, so technically I did other work stuff already today, so you know, whatever. Only 3 hours is a really small amount of work. If you're talking work, you know? Only 3 hours. Is 3 hours a lot? Most people I watch only do 1 hour. How the fuck do you even do that? The majority of people don't come to your stream until you've been live for 3 hours. That's crazy. That's like that's a proven statistic that the majority of people will not be in your stream until after the 2 hour mark. They must just be doing it for fun. Or they're really good at it. To where they only have to stream for like an hour. But yeah, your mic shifted. Oh. Sorry. It's my audio cords that go between the two computers. Better. Basically, if I put my foot up against the wall and I push down at all, if the wires run like right there, and if I hit the wrong spot with my foot, it will like dislodge the audio cables. Which is why the blurp sounded weird in my ears earlier. Thank you guys for letting me know immediately. But yeah, I mean, I have full respect for people that don't stream that much, but I mean, for someone that wants to be a full-time streamer, if streaming is the main thing you do, I would say like 3 to 4 hours is kind of like the minimum. If you want streaming to be the full-time thing, that's all. For me, streaming is my full-time, so, you know, in a perfect world, I stream 40 hours a week, minimum. But I also am not making content on other platforms right now, and there's not like a whole lot of stuff I do outside of the stream. So if stream is my full-time thing, then it's 40 hours, you know. So 3 hours in a day is not that much, because you can't do 40 hours a week with only 3 hours a day. So, you know, but yeah. Speaking of which, we're pretty close to hitting 2,000 hours live this year. Hold on one second, guys. Let me double check that. Let me check that stat. But yeah, I want to be clear that when I talk about my own like stream hours and stuff, I'm not, I'm in no way like making any judgment calls on anyone else's choices on how they run their stream or whatever. Or trying to make anyone feel like bad about their stuff or trying to pretend I'm better than anyone. I want to make that extremely clear. I don't think that many of you people would think that, but I just want to make it abundantly clear. Alright, yes. Actually, 1,934 hours this year. Which is, wild. I wonder where the subathons were. They're actually kind of hard to spot if you're not looking carefully. You can also see the like 3 or 4 like cheat days that I've done. This one, I did stream this day, by the way. I streamed 5 minutes on this day and it counted. But this is in PST, so it was like right before midnight my time, but so it didn't count on Twitch stats based on the fact that it was, yeah, anyway. But there are a few days where I streamed like just a little bit after midnight, and I counted those ones as my daily streams. So this one specifically makes me mad that it says 0 seconds. All the other ones at least say like 3 minutes, but the one that says 0 seconds is because I went live right at midnight. So yeah, but I did this because this was when I was finishing out my coding course and that was the same day that like my project was due. So if I didn't finish it that day, then I had no other option. So I had to stream like no time at all. But yeah, this is all like despite the fact that I have had like these months, this month like I was still doing coding course. So it's actually kind of cool to look at this. Like I'm very proud of this graph. Just to see that like I put in the time. No matter what the viewership is, no matter what like income is, no matter what anything is, this number I'm in control of, and I put in that amount of time. So that's like for me. That's why I think about like time in and stuff like that, because I'm like yeah, I've not played Tears of the Kingdom yet. 2.77 minutes watched. Yeah, 2.77 million minutes watched, yeah. You guys have watched me for 1,923 days this year. You guys have watched me for 5 years this year. That's kind of cool. Very watchable. No, I haven't. Get a life. But that's what I'm the most proud of, is that I've streamed almost 2,000 hours. I'm gonna make it 2,000 hours by the end of this year. This is my highest streamed year of all time, and I'm incredibly proud of that, because no matter what, no one can take away from me how much time I've put into this. You know what I mean? So I feel very good about it. It's also very good for my mental health to focus on like something that's completely within my control, which is like the amount of time that I put in, rather than something that's out of my control, like viewership or income or like whatever other random like statistic you could come up with. Like all of that is mostly out of my control and mostly like somewhat luck based, but the amount of time that I spend is 100% concrete, objectively, completely in my control. So when you're having fun, yes sir. But yeah, so if anyone's curious, that's why I am so focused and dead set on like streaming so much this year. It's just something I can take pride in. Exclamation mark Zelda. Skull Kid and harm boss video. This isn't good. Red potion. Alright, now I can go take this out there. Bum 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 da da dum. Alright. One sec. Alright, this way. Wigfoot, how many times have you had it now? Whoops. Alright, I'm gonna finish this one quest, and then we're gonna save and go to bed. Or get off stream, so that way I can watch Jujutsu Kaisen with Sarah. That's so true, Schultz. Right, I could pick up bushes. Let's go. Drink this potion. The bottle back. Tiny emotes. Wavefoot, thank you for finding all of these Halloween emotes for us. Monkey. Me been watching you. Lately this swamp filled with poison water. Temple above waterfall strange. Brother go to temple. Brother no able to find temple entrance. Temple for Deku only. Brother captured by Deku now in palace. Help. Okay. Love Ween. Yeah, today was hard. I went to the tax place. They say, Zaki, you owe $1,000. I said, okay. So I'm going to send them $1,000. I'm screaming and crying to the heavens about it, but it's okay. Taxes are at least out of the way now, and I know how much I owe, which is nice, because that means I know how much money I have left. Ouch. Yeah. This is unfortunately, I made like half... In 2022, I made half as much money as I made in 2021, but I have to pay 4 times as much money because I didn't have any tax credits this year for whatever reason, which is rough. So, oof. But yeah, and then I'm gonna start paying my taxes quarterly and stuff, and that should help with tax credit and whatnot. And keeping better track of my expenses this year and stuff too, which will be good. So we're good. We'll be fine. Yippee! And luckily, I did have money set aside for taxes as well. I actually, like, was very smart about it. I was like, I'm scared that I'm gonna owe thousands and thousands of dollars, so I like try to save as much money as possible this year. $1,000 is still a huge hit. It still hurts terribly, but you know, it's not like I'm like going into debt or anything for it at the very least. So we're good. And it also gives me a good idea of how much I might owe next year, which is good as well, because if I had no tax credits next year, then I can kind of assume it'll probably be about the same, because I think I've made about the same this year as last year. So that is good to know. But okay, we're gonna save our game and we're gonna start heading out here. But taxes are out of the way. I took my like coding thing that I had to do. So we knocked a lot of stuff out of the park today. And we got a nice 3-hour stream in today, which is nice. Nice little 3-hour stream. So we got our daily stream taken care of. So we daily stream. We got the taxes done. We got some other stuff done. So it's been good, all things considered. So I'm happy. But okay. The next big task is to finish figuring out the Vegas thing for TwitchCon. So work on figuring that out. Right now the biggest thing is I'm trying to figure out with Sarah if we can go, and then Airbnb stuff. Crystal, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome to the Zach Pack. I'm trying to figure it out with Sarah, because Sarah wants to go. But in order to do that, we need a place to stay, and we're looking at Airbnbs with friends, but they're kind of expensive. So me and Sarah both can't really like afford the places that we're looking at right now. So we're trying to see if there's like other places. Luckily for me, I think I'm just gonna buy the plane ticket and go like regardless. Because luckily for me, White Howdy and Jackson Narapu are offering me to like sleep on the floor of their hotel. So I think even if I can't figure it out in a way where me and Sarah can both go, at the very least I can go. So like I think I'm just gonna get the plane ticket as soon as possible, so that way I can go, and then try to figure out the Airbnb situation with Sarah, and then worst case scenario I sleep on the floor of some friend's hotel. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I am trying to figure it out though, because I would love to be able to spend some time with Sarah, and allow her to come with us. So yeah. But yeah, that's what we're working on. So, I need to message someone back about a code thing. Figure out TwitchCon is a huge thing right now on my list of to-dos. Make lower third ads for merch. Schultz, have you seen this yet? This is my new lower thirds merch ad. I have. Okay, perfect. Andy? Anyone else in chat? And then we're gonna be releasing the new merch thing that's on my to-do list, the one with the embroidered front and the print on the back. So that's what we're working on as well. I need to make more of those, and I need that to run on the timer. Wigfoot, I would love if you could help me, by the way, with the timer thing. Because there's a timer that I have like running, and if you might be able to help me at all with it, it would be awesome. Basically, right now I have it to where the ad is supposed to play. The ad timer is supposed to play. Oh, I think I just fucked it up. Hold on. Chat real quick. Let's just do every 60 seconds. And let's see what happens. I want to see if this works. If this works, then we'll be good. Okay, that opened that up. Nice. And then it's supposed to play for like 15 seconds. Let me see if this works. Let me see if this works. Let me see if this works. I'm going to test the trigger at 16 seconds, and then I'm going to see if it runs every 16 seconds after that. And if it does, what it should do is this should run. He should like pop up, do his thing. Then right after he goes away, he should pop back up again immediately almost. We'll see. It worked. It worked. Okay, he'll show up automatically. So now I can just make a timer where he shows up like once every 15 minutes. Chat real quick. Oh yeah, I love the panda guy. I'm happy I'm able to wear my favorite jacket and scarf because it's getting colder. Let's go. You're about to be buried in snow though, so just keep that in mind. Microdosing bullets by shooting myself in the leg with 177 pellets, and after 2 months stopped breaking skin, so I've moved up to 0.22 pellets. My goal is to work up to 604 kilobyte JPEG by the end of the year, and then one day get to 223. Real quick, chat. What is 15 minutes? In seconds. 6, 15, 30 times 3, 90, 0. Yeah. Chad, you're so good at math. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so now this will play every 15 minutes for 15 seconds. So like every 15 minutes, it'll just pop up. I cheated. Okay. Thanks for being here, guys. I'm gonna raid. I'm gonna raid Nandre. Telling me keeps on telling me gonna die too young. Cool ad and hi and bye, Colin. I appreciate it, Crystal. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Good night, everyone. Have a great night, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Shorter stream tonight, but we'll be back tomorrow, hopefully for a little bit more. It was just a late stream tonight and a short stream because I was super tired from having a long ass day. I only got like 5 hours of sleep last night as well, so you know, a bit much, a bit tiring. So appreciate you guys. Stay tuned for the raid. Copy paste the raid message. Zach Snackpack incoming. Zach Pack incoming. Whichever one applies to you. And check out all my socials. Please join the Discord. We have a lot of fun there whenever I'm not streaming. And also follow me on TikTok and Twitter and YouTube and all the other bullshit. Because if I don't ask you to do that, then I won't have any relevance and I'll fall off and die. Rah! Did the credits play, by the way, or were the credits dead again? Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Have a good night, guys. Good night. Have a good night, guys.